Chapter 16:16. Boom. One of the puppets punched out, and the air whistled with terrifying power. Lu Ming activated the suppressing hell skill and punched out as well, meeting the puppet's punch. With a loud bang, Lu Ming's body shook slightly, and he felt his arm go numb. What a strong power. Lu Ming felt that the puppet's power was comparable to Su Ran's. Su Ran was a stage 2 half-saint, but he had a superior earth spiritual body. He could fight above his level, and was comparable to a stage 3 half-saint. Kill. 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 Subsequently, more puppets pounced on Lu Ming. There were more than 10 of them. With so many puppets attacking at the same time, their power was shocking. It was no wonder that Wan Tiancheng and the rest were repelled. These puppets were even more difficult to deal with than martial artists of the same level because they were fearless. They had copper skin and iron bones, and their combat power was shocking. With so many puppets, Lu Ming didn't dare to take them head-on. With the help of bubbles, his body kept flickering, avoiding these puppets. Behind him, at the entrance of the cave, Wan Tiancheng rushed in, but he was also besieged by many puppets. The power of one of these puppets was limited, but when more than a dozen of them worked together, their power was amazing. Even a genius like Wan Tiancheng was at a disadvantage. In the end, he retreated unwillingly. With the help of bubbles, Lu Ming was in danger. On the other side, Huang Ling bathed in divine fire and kept charging in, wanting to break through the puppet's encirclement and get the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. The immortal heavenly phoenix body is indeed extraordinary. It has the characteristic of being immortal. Its vitality is too strong. Lu Ming exclaimed in his heart. Huang Ling's battle prowess might be on par with Wan Tiancheng and the others, but her vitality was far superior to Wan Tiancheng and the others. Huang Ling bathed in divine fire and had been hit by the puppets many times, but she still stubbornly charged forward. No, these puppets seemed to be arranged according to a formation. Suddenly Lu Ming's eyes flickered. The cave was huge and there were at least a few hundred puppets scattered all over the place. However, Lu Ming discovered that there were at most a dozen puppets besieging them at the same time. The other puppets remained motionless. For example, when Lu Ming charged through some places, some puppets would stop attacking, but new puppets would join in and besiege him. Their numbers were always around a dozen. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. These puppets seemed to be arranged according to some kind of pattern. With a thought, the second body stepped forward. A Taiji disc floated above his head. Many small Taiji diagrams appeared and scattered on the ground. The ground glowed and veined patterns appeared, forming a huge formation diagram. It really is a formation, Lu Ming muttered. He discovered that the puppets were all standing at key points of the spell formation, and there was something profound about each of their positions. Those puppets attacked according to the operation of the spirit formation. Thus, no matter where they went, there would be over a dozen puppets attacking at the same time. Furthermore, due to the support of the spirit formation, the power of the dozen or so puppets was extremely astonishing. If it were a dozen or so warriors in the third stage of the half-saint realm, they would never be able to stop a genius like Wan Tiancheng. They might even be killed by him. However, a dozen or so puppets in the third stage of the half-saint realm could suppress Wan Tiancheng, Zhao Kuang, and the others and even injure them. This was because of the help of the formation which made the dozen or so puppets extremely powerful. On the other side, Huang Ling looked at Lu Ming after seeing the formation on the ground. When she saw Lu Ming, shock flashed in her eyes. At this moment, the second body took a step forward and disappeared into the area between Lu Ming's eyebrows. Lu Ming's main body, on the other hand, took a step forward. When he took a step forward, the attacks of the dozen puppets strangely hit nothing but air. Then Lu Ming stepped out again. Just like before, the attacks of the dozen or so puppets hit nothing, as if they couldn't hit Lu Ming. A smile emerged on Lu Ming's face. He had already identified the weakness of this array. Every step he took landed on the weak spot of this array. Could also be said that he landed on the blind spot of this array. As a result, the attacks of the puppets all missed. Whoosh, whoosh. Lu Ming seemed to be taking a leisurely stroll. He took one step to the east and one step to the west. The attacks of the puppets were all directed at the side of Lu Ming. None of them hit him. Lu Ming was quickly moving toward the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. On the other side, Huang Ling was a little anxious. She ignored her injuries and rushed forward forcefully. The two of them approached the two stone pillars at an extremely fast speed. About a minute later, the two of them broke through the encirclement of the puppets and rushed toward the two stone pillars. There were no puppets standing in the area surrounding the two stone pillars. Furthermore, when they broke through the encirclement of the puppets and arrived at this area, those puppets did not chase after them. They all returned to their original positions and stood motionless. Whoosh! Lu Ming grabbed a jade token and the black key was in Huang Ling's hand. Then the two of them looked at each other and the atmosphere was a little tense. Brother, the jade token in your hand should be a map. Why don't you give me the map and let the map and the key merge? Otherwise it's useless for both of us. Huang Ling said in a delicate voice. A powerful aura emanated from her body and locked onto Lu Ming. Indeed, it's useless for both of us. You have the key but you can't find the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. I have the map. Even if I find the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb, I can't enter it. Why don't you give me the key and let the map and the key merge? Lu Ming said with a smile. He stepped back slowly and put up his guard. Lu Ming, damn you. They have the map and the key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. At this moment, a few angry roars were heard. It turned out that Wan Tiancheng, Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang had rushed in. They naturally saw that the map and the key were in the hands of Lu Ming and Huang Ling. However, they were besieged by a group of puppets. They didn't have Huang Ling's immortal body and couldn't withstand the attacks of the puppets. After a while they had to retreat from the cave. You're Lu Ming? Huang Ling blinked her eyes and asked. That's right. Lu Ming nodded. He focused all his attention on Huang Ling and was afraid that she would suddenly attack. Lu Ming, if I attack, I'm afraid you won't be able to keep the map of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. Huang Ling said. Is that so? I don't think so. Lu Ming smiled and his glabella shone. His second body stepped out and stood side by side with Lu Ming. A Tai Chi array disc floated above his head and a powerful aura spread out. Doppelganger? No, it's the same person. Amazing, really amazing. Huang Ling's eyes moved between Lu Ming's main body and second body. She was amazed. Huang Ling, although you have the immortal heavenly phoenix body, the word immortal is relative. It's not true that you are immortal. It's just that you have a strong life force. I'm afraid that you are seriously injured and your combat strength has been greatly reduced. If you really want to fight, you might not be my match. Chapter 16-17. Lu Ming's words caused Huang Ling's eyes to flicker. It was true that she was injured after forcing her way through. The immortal heavenly phoenix flesh was not immortal. It only granted her a stronger life force. Once her strength reached a certain level, she would still die. Besides, even if you can defeat me and claim the map of the Reincarnation Monarch's tomb, will you be able to leave this place? There are 3 experts waiting for you outside. Lu Ming continued, causing Huang Ling's eyes to flicker even more. A moment later, Huang Ling's eyes flickered as she let out a smile like a blossoming peony. As a matter of fact, Huang Ling was very beautiful. Among the people Lu Ming had met, only Xian Yanqing and a few others were comparable to her. Lu Ming, why don't we team up? Huang Ling said. Team up? Oh. Lu Ming's gaze flickered as he asked. We'll team up and leave this place together. You have the map and I have the key. We can search for the Reincarnation Monarch's tomb and open it. We'll split the treasures and successions inside. What do you think? Huang Ling said. That's a great idea. All right, I'll do it. Lu Ming agreed after a slight hesitation. Right now there was no better way than this. Lu Ming only had the map but not the key. It was useless even if he had the map. Besides, with his strength, it was almost impossible for him to snatch the key from Huang Ling and escape from the encirclement of Wan Tiancheng and the others. Therefore, it was better to team up with Huang Ling outside the cave. Wan Tiancheng and the others surrounded it with unpleasant looks. Huang Ling, that Lu Ming is my enemy. If you kill him and give me the map, we'll team up and leave this place. What do you think? Wan Tiancheng suddenly spoke. His voice echoed in the cave. Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang were startled. If that was the case, they would not be able to stop Huang Ling and Wan Tiancheng if they teamed up. Huang Ling, if you give me the map, I'll team up with you. On top of that, I'll promise you one more thing. As long as it's within my capabilities, I won't hesitate. Zhao Kuang immediately opened his mouth and promised even more generous conditions. Huang Ling, if you join hands with me, you can take more of the treasures inside the Reincarnation Monarch's tomb. Sima Liang also spoke, wanting to join forces with Huang Ling. The way they saw it, there was no problem for Huang Ling to kill Lu Ming. Inside the cave, Lu Ming's eyes flashed as he said, what they said is actually a better idea for you. What do you think? Are you tempted? Who do you think I am? How could he go back on his word? Since I've agreed to work with you, I won't go back on my word. Huang Ling glared at Lu Ming with her beautiful eyes and said with some displeasure. Really? Lu Ming smiled faintly. Of course. Huang Ling had a serious expression on her face and then she said, I need to recuperate now. How about we charge out together once I've fully recovered? Charge out. Lu Ming pondered for a moment. A moment later, his eyes flickered coldly as he said, if you're at your peak, can you hold Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang off for a few minutes? If I'm at my peak, I can easily hold them off for 3 minutes with my secret technique. Any longer and I won't be able to do it. What are you planning to do? Huang Ling said. Kill. Lu Ming said coldly. Kill. Kill Wan Tianqing? Huang Ling's eyes widened. That's right, but it'll take some time. Lu Ming nodded. Huang Ling's eyes flickered with astonishment. Lu Ming said he was going to kill Wan Tianqing? She found it unbelievable. Lu Ming's cultivation was only at the peak 8th layer martial dominator realm. How could he possibly kill Wan Ling Tianqing? It's quite difficult with my current cultivation, so I need to have a breakthrough. As for you, don't you need to recuperate too? Lu Ming said. That's right, wasn't the puppet formation the best place for him to train himself? Since he was not in a rush to leave, he decided to cultivate here. Once he reached the 9th layer martial dominator realm, he would be able to kill Wan Tianqing. Alright, we'll wait here for a while. Huang Ling walked to the side and sat down with her legs crossed. Her figure was engulfed in flames as she began to recuperate from her injuries, as if she trusted Lu Ming a lot. That being said, it was impossible for her not to be on alert. If Lu Ming were to make any strange moves, she would instantly unleash a powerful attack. Lu Ming let out a smile as his clone returned to the mountain and river pattern. Lu Ming stepped forward and entered the puppet formation. All of a sudden, one by one, the puppets charged toward Lu Ming and attacked him, releasing terrifying attacks. Lu Ming did not dodge the attacks by stepping into the weak spots of the formation. Instead, he fought the puppets head-on. However, these puppets were able to injure Wan Tianqing and the others, thus they were extremely powerful. In just a few moves, Lu Ming was injured and vomited blood. He had no choice but to retreat to the safe zone beside the pillar. Meanwhile, Huang Ling, who was recuperating from her injuries, opened her eyes and said in astonishment, Flesh of the 9 dragons, did you awaken the bloodline of the 9 dragons before? That's right, the 9 dragons and the immortal heavenly phoenix are both among the top 10 battle beasts. Don't you think we're a match made in heaven? Lu Ming could not help but tease Huang Ling when he saw her beautiful face. Is that so? If your cultivation can catch up to mine, maybe I'll consider it? Huang Ling's eyes flickered with astonishment as she let out a cunning grin. How long would it take for my cultivation to catch up to yours? Since there are puppets guarding the entrance, it's an auspicious time. Why don't we do it now? Lu Ming's gaze darted all over Huang Ling's curvaceous body. With a sinister smile, he walked toward Huang Ling. What do you want? So you're also a lecher. Don't come over. Huang Ling's expression changed when she saw Lu Ming walking toward her. Phoenix flames spread out from her body as she stared at Lu Ming anxiously. Ha ha ha. Lu Ming suddenly laughed and walked to the side. He sat down cross-legged and started recuperating. Damn it. Huang Ling gritted her teeth. She knew that she had been tricked by Lu Ming. Lu Ming's injuries were not serious. Soon he recovered from his injuries. After he recovered, Lu Ming did not step into the puppet array immediately. Instead he fell into deep thought. Currently he had the 10,000 soldier art, the 13 strikes of power storing, the hell suppressing skill, and the chaotic sky flipping seal. Now he needed to cultivate a realm movement technique to make up for his lack of movement techniques. Lu Ming searched through the 9 dragons' memories. Soon Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He found a movement martial skill. Gale Thunder Steps. To cultivate the Gale Thunder Steps, one needed to comprehend the Gale Thunder territory. This was not a problem for them. The Gale Thunder Steps combined the characteristics of wind and thunder. It moved like lightning and had the agility of the wind. It was a top-notch realm movement technique. Lu Ming studied it carefully. After a few hours, Lu Ming stepped into the puppet array again. More than 10 puppets attacked Lu Ming. Chapter 16-18. Boom. Boom. The long spear and the battle sword clashed with the 2 puppets. Lu Ming's body shook violently as he retreated. That's the 10,000 weapon art. This time Huang Ling was shocked by Lu Ming again. Lu Ming had actually cultivated the 10,000 weapon art. It was a unique technique of the Wan clan. She felt that Lu Ming was becoming more and more unfathomable. Whoosh, whoosh. At the same time on the other side, a few puppets attacked Lu Ming with lightning speed. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes slightly as he concentrated. Just as the puppets' attacks were about to hit Lu Ming's body suddenly moved. The light of wind and lightning flashed as he narrowly avoided the puppets' attacks. He used the Wind Thunder Steps. Then he attacked with both his long spear and battle sword, blocking the attacks of the other two puppets. Lu Ming didn't use the puppet formation's weakness to avoid the attacks. Instead, he used his pure combat strength to fight with the puppets and train himself. However, in the puppet formation, the combat strength of a dozen puppets was far above him. He could only do his best and push his potential to the limit to fight against the puppet formation. This time, Lu Ming barely blocked 10 moves before he fell into a fatal crisis. Left with no choice, Lu Ming stepped on the puppet formation's weakness to avoid the attacks and retreated to a safe area. After resting, he continued to step into the formation and fought with the puppets. Every time, Lu Ming had to push himself to the limit. When he fell into a fatal crisis, Lu Ming would use the formation's weakness to avoid the attacks. In this way, although Lu Ming couldn't enter the state of emptiness of life and death, his improvement was still fast. When he first started cultivating the Wind Thunder Steps, his improvement was the fastest. He broke through continuously and soon reached the 3rd level. As for the Primal Chaos Domain, his improvement was also fast. It started to break through to the 9th level. Outside the cave, Wan Chanqing, Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang's faces were gloomy. They stood outside and stared at the cave. When they heard the intense rumbling sound coming from the cave, the three of them had different expressions. What happened inside? Could it be that Huang Ling dealt with that brat? Several people guessed. Let's go in and take a look. Wan Chanqing spoke coldly as he rushed into the cave. Then Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang also rushed into the cave. As soon as they rushed into the cave, they were besieged by the puppets. At the same time they saw Lu Ming fighting with the puppets. The three of them looked puzzled and left the cave. How did that brat fight with the puppet? Could it be that they would also be attacked by the puppets when they come out after obtaining the map and key? Chao Kuang was puzzled. That should be the case. Sima Liang said. If they can rush in, they can definitely rush out. We just have to wait here. When they come out, we'll kill them and then we'll get the map and the key. The three of us will rely on our own abilities. Wan Chanqing's eyes were cold. He had to kill Lu Ming. That brat, why is he able to cultivate the 10,000 soldier art? Could it be because of his domain? That kid's domain is very similar to the legendary Primal Chaos domain, but in this world, is there really someone who can cultivate the Primal Chaos domain? Wan Chanqing's mind was filled with thoughts. The three of them had been guarding outside the cave. Meanwhile, Lu Ming was making the best use of his time to cultivate. In the blink of an eye, half a month had passed. Inside the cave, Lu Ming's figure kept flickering as he fought against the puppets. Lu Ming's spear was like a dragon and his sword was piercing through the sky. His strength was shocking as he kept clashing with the puppets. Bang, bang, bang. After a few collisions, Lu Ming borrowed the powerful force and retreated to the safe zone. Where did this Lu Ming come from? He's so talented. It seems like he's improving every day. He has reached the 9th layer Martial Dominator realm from the 8th layer Martial Dominator realm in such a short time. Huang Ling's eyes were filled with astonishment. During this period, Huang Ling had already recovered from her injuries. She had also fought against the puppets, but her improvement was not as fast as Lu Ming's. My domain has reached the middle stage of the 9th layer. Lu Ming smiled. In fact, 5 days ago, Lu Ming's domain had broken through the 9th layer. Then he had swallowed a large number of origin stones and raised his cultivation to the 9th layer Martial Dominator realm. Now, his chaotic domain had improved again and reached the middle stage of the 9th layer. Am I born to fight? My cultivation speed is really fast in the midst of battle. Even Lu Ming was surprised by his improvement. In a life and death battle, he was usually highly focused and his mind was abnormally active. Regardless of whether it was martial skills or domains, the speed of his comprehension was very shocking. Now, Lu Ming had cultivated the Gale Thunder Steps to the completion stage. His movement was like a thunderstorm and his speed was amazing. Now, Lu Ming was waiting for an opportunity. That was Ming Lian's second body, because Ming Lian's second body was about to break through. Ming Lian's second body had already lit 8 spirit lamps. Now he was about to light 9 spirit lamps. Once Ming Lian's second body lit 9 spirit lamps, he would be able to control the Tai Chi formation disc and its power would be stronger. Then it would be time for them to strike. Now that my cultivation has broken through, I should be able to seal more sacred weapons. Lu Ming thought. Then he began to cultivate the 10,000 weapon art. He took out a sacred weapon and began to seal it. A dot of light lit up on Lu Ming's chest. This sacred weapon was successfully sealed. This was the 11th sacred weapon. Back then Wan Chanqing had only sealed 12 sacred weapons. I haven't reached my limit yet. Continue. Lu Ming took out another sacred weapon and began to seal it. Not long after, the 12th sacred weapon was successfully sealed. At this time, Lu Ming finally felt that he had reached his limit. If he continued to seal, his body might not be able to take it. With a thought, the 12 acupoints on his body lit up. 12 sacred weapons appeared and floated around his body. What kind of monster is this? He can seal 12 sacred weapons at the 9th layer martial royal realm. Huang Ling was shocked. She was already numb to Lu Ming's various abnormal behaviors. At this time, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Ming Lian's second body had already begun to break through. Inside the mountain and river diagram, a bright spirit flame jumped between Ming Lian's second body's eyebrows. The golden spirit flame was extremely vigorous, burning like a divine flame. The Tai Chi formation disc floated above his head. Light constantly scattered and poured into the second body's body. Inside the second body's sea of consciousness, 8 golden psychic lamps shone brilliantly. Suddenly, the 9th psychic lamp lit up, emitting a golden flame. Buzz! The Tai Chi formation disc scattered rays of light and poured into Lu Ming's mind, causing the flame on the 9th spirit lamp to become more vigorous and bright. At this moment, several spirit rings appeared on the second body's body. There were a total of 9 spirit rings. The first 8 spirit rings each had 10 dots of light, which represented perfection. Only the last golden spirit ring had 9 dots of light. Chapter 16-19. The cultivation of the way of inscription was completely different from that of martial arts before reaching the Saint Realm. Inscriptions could be regarded as a simplified version of the Dharma. Inscriptions could directly communicate with heaven and earth and borrow the energy between heaven and earth. Therefore, after reaching the peak of level 9, one could directly communicate with and comprehend the Dharma. However, after reaching the Saint Realm, there was basically no difference between the way of inscription and martial arts. After all methods returned to the origin and the Great Path. No matter what way it was the same in the end. When the way of inscription was cultivated to the Saint Realm, it also condensed the Saint Heart, transformed spiritual power into Saint Power, and controlled the Dharma. It was the same as martial arts. At this time, Lu Ming smiled and looked at Huang Ling. He said, "Now let's go. Are you sure? If not, we'll rush out at the end. Don't put yourself in danger," Huang Ling said. She was still worried. Lu Ming's plan was to kill Wan Tiancheng. Although Lu Ming had broken through to the 9th level of the martial royal realm, could he really succeed? "Don't worry. Even if we can't kill him, they can't do anything to us." Lu Ming smiled confidently. Then he got up and walked toward the puppet formation. He said, "Follow my steps." After saying that, Lu Ming stepped into the puppet formation. A dozen puppets immediately attacked Lu Ming, but those attacks missed. Then he took another step. Huang Ling followed Lu Ming and stepped on the place where Lu Ming had just stepped. In this way, Huang Ling followed Lu Ming's footsteps and stepped on the weakness of the puppet formation. They easily passed through the puppet formation and stepped out of the cave one after another. "They're out." As soon as Lu Ming and Huang Ling stepped out of the cave, they heard a cold shout. Then, 3 terrifying auras burst out and locked onto Lu Ming and Huang Ling. Especially Wan Tiancheng, who emitted a cold, murderous intent. "You're finally out. Huang Ling, I gave you a chance before. Unfortunately, you didn't know how to cherish it," Wan Tiancheng said coldly. "Cut the crap. Wan Tiancheng, didn't you want to kill me? Let's fight." Lu Ming shouted and his aura erupted. He took a step forward and the earth rumbled. 12 light spots were emitted from his body and 12 sacred weapons were suspended in the air. Each sacred weapon emitted a dazzling brilliance. The aura of the sacred weapon soared into the sky and connected with each other. Lu Ming held the black dragon spear and stabbed it at Wan Tiancheng. 12 sacred weapons? Die. Wan Tiancheng roared and 12 sacred weapons appeared on his body. He held a battle sword and slashed at Lu Ming. There was a deep jealousy in his eyes. Lu Ming was actually able to seal the 12 sacred weapons. One had to know that when he sealed the 12 sacred weapons, he had already reached the half-step sage realm. Clang. The black dragon spear and Wan Tiancheng's combat sword collided heavily. The battle weapon chi continued to resist, making rumbling noises. Lu Ming could feel a terrifying force constantly attacking the black dragon spear. That was the power of loss. Even Lu Ming's level 9 chaotic domain seemed to be unable to withstand it. Buzz. The black dragon spear vibrated, and Lu Ming's body rapidly retreated by 5 to 6 steps. Wan Tiancheng's eyes turned cold. He did not expect that Lu Ming would be able to withstand his attack and only retreat a few steps. He was not injured. Swoosh. At this moment, Huang Ling rushed to the side. Where do you think you're going? Stay here. Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang shouted and chased after Huang Ling. Huang Ling, who was flying rapidly, suddenly stopped. Her body was covered in flames. She was bathed in the flames of the immortal heavenly phoenix. Her entire body seemed to have turned into flames. A phoenix cry rang out, and a huge immortal heavenly phoenix bathed in flames rushed out of Huang Ling's body and flew in circles in the sky. Boom, boom. Then a large area of flames spread out, enveloping Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang, forming a flaming cage. Lu Ming, you have to hurry up. I can only hold them off for 3 minutes at most. End this quickly. Huang Ling's voice came from the flames. Then intense rumbling noises came from the flames, and Zhao Kuang roared like a beast. End this quickly? Haha, does Huang Ling think that you can kill me? Wan Tianqing laughed crazily as if he had heard a very funny joke. Kill. Lu Ming did not waste any time. He did not have much time. He took a step forward and directly used the divine sword art. His eyes were like swords, blasting into Wan Tianqing's body and his spiritual deity. However, Wan Tianqing's body only trembled slightly before returning to normal. He shouted coldly, "Unfortunately, a soul attack is useless against me. Is this your trump card? You want to kill me with this? I will let you know how naive you are." Whoosh. Wan Tianqing held the battle sword in his hand, and the sword chi was like a rainbow. The energy of the other 11 battle weapons was added to the battle sword, causing the battle sword's power to reach an astonishing level. He slashed at Lu Ming. A spiritual deity defensive treasure. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Obviously, Wan Tianqing had a spiritual deity defensive treasure. That was why he could block Lu Ming's divine sword art attack. This was normal. It was normal for a genius like Wan Tianqing to have a spiritual deity defensive treasure to protect his soul. After all, soul attacks were impossible to guard against. Without a spiritual deity defensive treasure, one might not even know how they died. Kill. Lu Ming shouted again and still used the divine sword art. Although Wan Tianqing had a spiritual deity defensive treasure, the divine sword art could still interfere. At the same time, Lu Ming held the black dragon spear and unleashed his true origin to the extreme, charging towards Wan Tianqing. Boom, boom. The two exchanged a few moves in a row, but Lu Ming was still at a disadvantage. Is this all you've got? You want to kill me? Naive. Wan Tianqing sneered and attacked Lu Ming. His attack was even more violent, and his sword chi was wild. Lu Ming's eyes were calm. At this moment his glabella shone, and a pagoda floated out. Buzz. Suddenly there was a strange fluctuation from the pagoda. A transparent bubble suddenly appeared around Wan Tianqing's body and enveloped him. Space-time domain. You have a space-time domain treasure. Wan Tianqing roared and unleashed his full strength. The Dharma surrounded his body and broke the shackles of the space-time domain, trying to destroy the transparent bubble. However, the bubble had reached the 9th level of the martial royal realm. As a space-time spirit mouse, one of the top 10 battle beasts, its talent was beyond doubt. Even though it was still young, it was still very terrifying. Its talent had completely surpassed that of an inferior heaven spiritual body like Wan Tianqing. Therefore, even though the bubble's cultivation was far behind Wan Tianqing's, its combat strength was not too far behind. Wan Tianqing couldn't break the transparent bubble at all. Bang, bang. Lu Ming stepped on the void, holding a spear in one hand and a sword in the other, and charged towards Wan Tianqing. The space-time domain had no effect on Lu Ming. Chapter 1620. Wan Tianqing roared. 12 holy weapons surrounded his body. There were all kinds of holy weapons, including several defensive ones. Each holy weapon was surrounded by the power of law. Wan Tianqing used the defensive holy weapon to protect his body. At the same time, he waved his battle sword to fight against the space-time blade and fought against Lu Ming. For a moment, the two sides were tied. Wan Tianqing was indeed very powerful. With the inferior heavenly spiritual body, his body was as sharp as a divine weapon. Coupled with the law of weapons, he could destroy everything. Even with the help of bubbles, Lu Ming could only tie with Wan Tianqing. Lu Ming had broken through to the 9th level of the martial royal realm. If he was in the 8th level of the martial royal realm, he would not be a match for him at all. Lu Ming and Bubbles were at a disadvantage because of the law. The two of them only used the realm. The realm and the law were two completely different concepts. No matter how strong the chaotic realm and the space-time realm were, there was still a gap between them and Wan Tianqing's law of weapons. Of course, if Lu Ming went one step further and turned the 9th level realm into an ultimate realm, its power would soar again. It would not be a problem for him to suppress Wan Tianqing. Boom, boom. The two sides kept colliding with each other. In the blink of an eye they had exchanged dozens of blows. Damn it! How can this guy be so strong? Wan Tianqing roared in his heart. When he first met Lu Ming, Lu Ming's cultivation was only at the peak of the 6th level of the martial royal realm. In Wan Tianqing's eyes, Lu Ming was an ant that he could kill easily. But now, Lu Ming's cultivation had soared to the 9th level of the martial royal realm. Even Wan Tianqing was shocked by the speed of his progress. However, he didn't take a 9th level martial royal realm seriously at all. Even if he was also a genius with an inferior heavenly spiritual body, he could kill him with one slap. However, Lu Ming relied on his own strength and a treasure that could release the spacetime realm to tie with him. This made him even more determined to kill Lu Ming. Otherwise, when Lu Ming went one step further and broke through to the half-saint, he would be no match for him at all. Kill! Wan Tianqing roared. 2 more light spots lit up on his body. 2 more saint weapons flew out from the 2 dots of light. There were a total of 14 saint weapons, and the battle weapon chi of the 14 saint weapons stacked together, making them even more powerful. Sure enough, Wan Tianqing had been holding back before. Whoosh, whoosh. Sword light streaked across the sky. Bubble's spacetime domain was forcibly broken by Wan Tianqing. At the same time, Lu Ming was repelled. Die! Wan Tianqing roared. His eyes flashed with killing intent as he charged towards Lu Ming. Primal Chaos flipping Heaven Seal. Lu Ming muttered as he released the saint weapon in his hand. A chaotic cyclic sky seal appeared on his palm. Lu Ming smashed the chaotic flipping sky seal towards Wan Tianqing. Boom! With an earth-shattering boom, Lu Ming and Wan Tianqing's bodies shook at the same time and retreated. Impossible! Wan Tianqing roared in his heart. Lu Ming still had a trump card that he hadn't used yet. Wan Tianqing had done his best, but he still couldn't defeat Lu Ming. It was hard for him to accept. The chaotic flipping sky seal at 60% power is still too weak. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. Just now, he had used 60% of the chaotic flipping sky seal. In fact, when Lu Ming used the 10,000 weapon art now, the power was already very strong. It was very close to the power of the chaotic flipping sky seal. After all, Lu Ming had only cultivated the chaotic flipping sky seal to the 4th level. Lu Ming couldn't defeat Wan Tianqing with the 10,000 weapon art. Even if he used 60% of the chaotic flipping sky seal, it wouldn't be much stronger. But even so, Wan Tianqing was already shocked. Bang! Lu Ming took a step back and immediately took a step forward. Another chaotic flipping sky seal with 60% of its prowess condensed in his palm. The chaotic flipping sky seal expanded rapidly and pressed down on Wan Tianqing. Break it! Wan Tianqing roared. The 14 holy weapons circled around and formed a terrifying sword chi. It rushed up and blasted on the chaotic flipping sky seal. Boom! The chaotic flipping sky seal trembled and then collapsed. The battle weapon chi on Wan Tianqing's battle sword also collapsed and he retreated a few steps. Lu Ming, you can't do anything to me. When Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang break through Huang Ling's obstruction, it will be the time of your death. Wan Tianqing roared. Lu Ming's eyes were cold. He didn't say anything. Another chaotic flipping sky seal condensed in his palm and blasted toward Wan Tianqing. Wan Tianqing tried his best to resist. At this moment, Lu Ming's glabella shone. Ming Lian's second body stepped out. The Tai Chi disc array floated in the air and a Tai Chi pattern appeared. It pressed down on Wan Tianqing. The Tai Chi pattern had terrifying offensive and sealing power. Facing the joint attack of the Tai Chi pattern and the chaotic flipping sky seal, Wan Tianqing was finally defeated. He was sent flying and slid on the ground, leaving a deep gully. He spat out a mouthful of blood. What's going on? Clone? No, it's the same person. Wan Tianqing was shocked when he saw the two Lu Ming. How could the same person have 2 bodies? Before he could think further, Lu Ming's main body and second body attacked Wan Tianqing again. Previously, Lu Ming didn't use his second body at the beginning because he wanted to catch Wan Tianqing off guard and severely injure him. Don't even think about killing me. Wan Tianqing roared as 14 sacred weapons surrounded him. He already knew that he wasn't a match for Lu Ming. He started to defend with all his strength. He didn't want to make any mistakes. Boom! Boom! Lu Ming's attack blasted toward Wan Tianqing. The 14 sacred weapons around Wan Tianqing glowed and surrounded him with the power of laws. A terrifying explosion sounded and Wan Tianqing was sent flying. He coughed up blood again, but he was still blocked. Haha, you can't kill me. Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang are about to break free. At that time you'll be the one to die. Wan Tianqing laughed crazily with a ferocious look on his face. On the other side, Huang Ling was fighting against Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang. The undying cage formed by Huang Ling couldn't hold on for much longer. Is that so? Lu Ming's eyes were still calm. Whoosh. The void shook as bubble attacked. Spacetime blades slashed toward Wan Tianqing. Clang, 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 clang. The spacetime blades kept slashing at the sacred weapons around Wan Tianqing, causing them to shake violently. Buzz. At this moment, the sky shook and a mountain-like primal chaos cyclic sky seal appeared. The power that this primal chaos cyclic sky seal exuded was much more terrifying than the previous primal chaos cyclic sky seal. It was a primal chaos cyclic sky seal at full power. Boom. This time Lu Ming used his full strength. The primal chaos cyclic sky seal at full power suppressed Wan Tianqing. Wan Tianqing's pupils shrank rapidly as fear flashed in his eyes. Block it. I must block it. Wan Tianqing roared in his heart. The true yuan in his body boiled as if it was going to burn. His spiritual body glowed and surrounded by the power of laws. He squeezed out all the power in his body and burst it out. At this moment, Wan Tianqing seemed to have entered another mysterious realm. His potential was suppressed to the extreme. This is the feeling of the jar of laws. As long as I don't die this time, I will be able to break through to the third stage of the half-saint realm, the jar of laws. Chapter 1621. He didn't expect to be pushed to the limit by Lu Ming. His potential erupted and he made a major breakthrough. As long as he found a place to cultivate in seclusion for a month, he would be able to break through to the third stage of the half-saint realm. The premise was that he had to survive. Block it. I must block it. As long as Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang break through the encirclement, I won't die. As long as I break through to the third stage of the half-saint realm, my strength will skyrocket. At that time, it will be their time to die. Wan Tianqing roared in his heart. The 14 saint weapons glowed and merged together to form a powerful layer of defense. Boom. The full power of the chaotic sky-flipping seal pressed down and bombarded Wan Tianqing's defense. The rock under Wan Tianqing's feet exploded and the ground cracked, creating a huge pit. The saint weapons around Wan Tianqing were blown away one by one. In the end, only a few of them were left floating around his body. Wan Tianqing's face turned pale and he vomited blood. At this moment, the Tai Chi disc above the second body shone and another Tai Chi pattern floated. This time the Tai Chi pattern suddenly changed. The yin-yang fish separated and turned into two swords, one black and one white. The two yin-yang fish swords emitted a terrifying fluctuation and slashed towards Wan Tianqing. The two yin-yang fish swords were extremely powerful. Wan Tianqing's eyes were filled with despair. He forced himself to use his remaining strength to control the remaining saint weapons around him to block the attack. However, the saint weapons were directly blown away by the yin-yang fish swords. The yin-yang fish swords continued to slash towards Wan Tianqing. No! Wan Tianqing roared in despair. He had just made a major breakthrough. After a while, he would be able to break through to the next stage of the half-race battlefield. At that time, he would be able to dominate the half-race battlefield. He wouldn't even be afraid of a saint stage expert. But now he was in a desperate situation. How unwilling was he to accept this? The yin-yang fish sword slashed across and beheaded Wan Tianqing. The other pierced through Wan Tianqing's dantian and destroyed his spiritual deity. Wan Tianqing was dead. Boom. At this moment, Huang Ling's undying cage was broken. She retreated frantically with a pale face and blood dripped from the corner of her mouth. Evidently, Huang Ling had paid quite a price in order to trap Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang. Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang rushed out of the flame cage. However, the two of them retreated at the same time as they looked at Lu Ming in shock. Lu Ming had killed Wan Tianqing. A man of the 9th level of the martial royal realm had killed Wan Tianqing, a peerless genius who had reached the second stage of the half-saint realm. How was that possible? This greatly exceeded Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang's expectations. Their gazes were incomparably grave. If Lu Ming could kill Wan Tianqing, it meant that he could also kill the two of them. Huang Ling, who was standing aside, looked at Lu Ming in shock. Her eyes were filled with complicated emotions. Previously, when Lu Ming said that he wanted to kill Wan Tianqing, she was completely skeptical and took a gamble. If they couldn't kill Wan Tianqing, they could only break out of the encirclement with all their strength. He didn't expect that Lu Ming could really kill Wan Tianqing in just a few minutes. Now it's your turn. Lu Ming glanced at Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang with a cold gaze. Their expressions changed tremendously. Let's go, let's leave this place first. Sima Liang let out a furious roar as he dashed out of the valley. Following this, Zhao Kuang followed behind him and left the valley. Although they were unwilling to give up, they had no choice but to give up. Now, only the two of them were left, while Lu Ming and Huang Ling were left. Although Huang Ling was injured, she could easily deal with one of them. If Lu Ming was dealing with the other one, they would be in great danger. They had no choice but to flee under such circumstances. Only Huang Ling and Lu Ming were left in the valley. Huang Ling glanced at Lu Ming alertly and said, "Lu Ming, your strength is quite shocking. You even managed to kill Wan Tianqing. Are you going to attack me?" Lu Ming's strength was too shocking. She could not help but overthink. If Lu Ming attacked her and killed her, he would be able to obtain the map and the key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. Although her immortal heavenly phoenix body was very tenacious, she was not sure if Lu Ming had any other trump cards. "What do you think?" Lu Ming looked at Huang Ling with a faint smile. Huang Ling's expression changed slightly as she took a step back. "Ha ha ha." Lu Ming laughed and said, "Don't worry. You didn't attack me before I broke through. Why would I attack you now? I, Lu Ming, am not that kind of person. You're injured. Heal yourself first. I need to recover too." After saying that, Lu Ming sat down cross-legged at the side. He took out a pile of origin stones and started devouring them to recover. It was undeniable that Wan Tianqing was indeed powerful and extremely difficult to kill. Just now, in order to kill Wan Tianqing, Lu Ming had used all his trump cards. With the cooperation of the main body and the second body, as well as the help of Bubble, they were able to kill Wan Tianqing. In this battle, Lu Ming had consumed a lot of his genuine essence. He was left with less than half. Ming Lian's second body put away Wan Tianqing's holy weapon and storage ring. Then he stepped out and disappeared into the main body. When Huang Ling saw Lu Ming recuperating by the side, she secretly heaved a sigh of relief. She patted her chest and then sat cross-legged. Immortal flames spread from her body and she began to recuperate. About half an hour later, the two of them stood up at the same time. "Let's get out of here first," Lu Ming said and walked out. Huang Ling followed closely behind Lu Ming. When Lu Ming and the others arrived at the Land of Bones, a half-saint demonic creature roared and pounced on Lu Ming. 9 seals of the Divine Gate. Lu Ming moved his hands. 8 gates of seal appeared and sealed the half-saint demonic creature. At the same time, Lu Ming moved his body and stretched out his claw to grab the demon crystal of the half-saint demonic creature. Now, such an ordinary first-stage half-saint demonic creature was no match for Lu Ming at all. Lu Ming could kill it at will. Then 2 more half-saint demonic creatures pounced on them. One of them had reached the second stage half-saint, the stage of comprehending the laws. Lu Ming called out Bubble to help. He trapped the demonic creature with the space-time domain and easily obtained the demon crystal. An earth-shattering roar sounded. A huge demonic creature, exuding a terrifying aura, pounced on Lu Ming. A vast holy aura rushed toward him. A saint-level demonic creature. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. A saint-level demonic creature was not something he could defeat now. Even if he joined forces with his second body and Bubble, they would not be a match for a saint-level demonic creature. Behind him, the prison-suppressing steel emerged and grew rapidly. The saint-level demonic creature roared and showed a look of horror. It turned around and ran. However, the other half-saint demonic creatures also ran away and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Lu Ming was speechless. After using the prison-suppressing steel, not only did the saint-level demonic creatures run away, but even the half-saint demonic creatures also ran away. Chapter 1622. Prison-suppressing steel. At the side, Huang Ling revealed a look of shock. She had lost count of the number of times she had been shocked, and it was all because of Lu Ming. How many more secrets did Lu Ming have? Huang Ling realized that she could no longer see through Lu Ming. Lu Ming took out the prison-suppressing steel and the two of them passed through the valley easily. When they were near the valley, Lu Ming put away the prison-suppressing steel. More than half a month had passed and there were still a few people wandering outside the valley. When they saw Huang Ling and Lu Ming coming out, their eyes lit up. However, when they looked at Huang Ling, they had a solemn expression. Obviously, Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang had said something after coming out. These people should know that Huang Ling and Lu Ming had obtained the map and key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. Get lost or die. Huang Ling shouted coldly, exuding a cold, murderous intent. Those people's expressions changed drastically and they turned around to leave. Lu Ming smiled and flew toward the exit with Huang Ling at high speed. Lu Ming, I'm really curious. Which Emperor-level force are you from? Huang Ling asked curiously while flying in the air. I'm not from an Emperor-level force, Lu Ming said. Not from an emperor-level force? How is that possible? Huang Ling was extremely surprised. How was it possible that he was not from an emperor-level force and yet he had such combat strength? Huang Ling had thought that Lu Ming was a genius disciple of an ancient sect. Lu Ming smiled and did not explain further. Soon the two of them arrived at the crack and flew out. Soon the two of them arrived at a mountain peak. Lu Ming, how about looking at the map? Let's see where the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb is. The two of us can go there now. Huang Ling said. All right. Lu Ming nodded and took out the jade token. After scanning it with his spiritual consciousness, Lu Ming's expression changed. How is it? Seeing Lu Ming's expression change, Huang Ling quickly asked. I'm afraid we can't find the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. Lu Ming said. Can't find it? What's going on? Could it be that this map is fake? Huang Ling said unwillingly. They had spent so much effort to get the map and key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. If it was fake, it would be too much of a blow. It might not be fake. Take a look yourself. Lu Ming said. Then his true chi poured into the jade token and a picture appeared in the air. Mountains, mountain peak of a map of the world of mountains and lakes. However, this map was incomplete. It was easy to tell that this was only a corner of a complete map. Why is there only a corner? Huang Ling's expression. Take a look at your key. Is there anything unusual about it? Lu Ming said. Huang Ling quickly took out the key and looked at it carefully. Sure enough, they found a number on the key. 3. This should be a serial number. It seems like the key and map of the Reincarnation Monarch's tomb are not a set, but divided into several parts. Only by obtaining all of these parts can we find the Reincarnation Monarch's tomb and open it. Lu Ming said. It was obvious that the map they obtained was incomplete. It was also obvious that there was more than one key. What a pity. Huang Ling sighed. Only a part of it was completely useless. As for the other parts, where were they supposed to find them? I have a question that I'm very curious about. How did you know that the map and key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb appeared nearby? Lu Ming asked. Previously, when I was traveling, I was ambushed by the natives, but they were killed by me. I learned about it from the natives who ambushed me. Huang Ling explained. A native? Lu Ming frowned and said, It's obvious that Zhao Kuang, Sima Liang, Wan Tianqing, and the others are here too. Most likely. Huang Ling nodded. Since that's the case, it's possible that more people know about it. Therefore, I'm guessing that other maps and keys have appeared in other places. If we want to open the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb, I'm afraid we'll have to cooperate with those who have the maps and keys. Lu Ming pondered for a moment and said, It's very likely. Legend has it that when the 1,000-killing martial emperor obtained the tomb of the Great Massacre Emperor, the keys to open the tomb were also distributed to many people. It's most likely the same this time. Huang Ling's eyes lit up. She then looked at Lu Ming and said, Lu Ming, let's go to Dark Water City. Perhaps we'll be able to obtain some information there. Dark Water City? Lu Ming was puzzled. You probably haven't stepped into the depths of the 100-tribe battlefield yet. In the depths of the 100-tribe battlefield, the natives have built a total of 4 huge cities. Darkwater City is one of them. It can be said to be one of the largest cities in the 100-tribe battlefield. Almost all of the strongest geniuses from the various forces who have entered the 100-tribe battlefield have gathered near these 4 cities. Those who can obtain the map and key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb are definitely not weak. Therefore, we might be able to obtain some useful information from Darkwater City. Huang Ling explained. The place where the strongest geniuses gather. Alright, let's go to Darkwater City. Lu Ming's eyes lit up and he agreed without hesitation. With his current cultivation, there was no value in gaining experience in the periphery of the 100-tribe battlefield. Only by entering the depths of the 100-tribe battlefield would he be able to encounter stronger opponents. After their discussion, the two of them flew towards the depths of the 100-tribe battlefield. Along the way they encountered some young geniuses. However, when Huang Ling's aura was revealed, the expressions of those geniuses changed drastically. None of them would overestimate themselves and challenge them. The two of them hurried along at an astonishing speed. In just 2 days, a huge city appeared in front of them. Looking from afar, the city was vast and majestic. It was like a huge beast crawling in front of them. That was Darkwater City. Before the city gate of Darkwater City there was a huge lake. The strange thing was that the water in the lake was dark and looked pitch black. There were many figures above the lake and they stood in the air. At a glance they were all young people. There were both men and women, but all of them had powerful auras. Half-saints. Lu Ming looked over and found that most of these young people were half-saints. Some of them even exuded a faint power of law. Obviously, they were existences who had stepped into the second stage of the half-saint realm. Only a few of them were below the half-saint realm. There were very few of them. So many experts. No wonder it's one of the 4 largest cities in the depths of the 100-tribe battlefield. Lu Ming exclaimed in his heart. At a glance, they were all half-saints and geniuses. It was a spectacular sight. Boom, boom. On the surface of the lake, there were continuous roars. 2 figures were fiercely fighting. The lake water tumbled under the terrifying force, stirring up thousands of waves. A red figure and a blue figure were surrounded by the power of law. The power of law was constantly colliding with each other. These 2 were experts in the second stage of the half-saint realm. The others were watching the battle between the 2. What's going on? Chapter 1623. As far as Lu Ming knew, there was an Azura platform in every city. Why were these young geniuses having a great battle here? Lu Ming Darkwater City is one of the 4 largest cities in the 100-tribe battlefield. The local experts in the city are also very strong. I'm afraid there will be someone at the peak of the Bright Sage realm. Huang Ling explained. The natives had lived in the 100-tribe battlefield since they were young, so they had adapted to the chaotic laws of the 100-tribe battlefield. Some of the more talented ones could cultivate to the Saint realm. However, the strongest could only reach the Bright Sage realm. The peak of the Bright Sage realm was the strongest in the 100-tribe battlefield. The peak of the Bright Saint realm is too strong. With my strength, I'm afraid I won't be able to fight back. That's why no one dares to make a move in Darkwater City. However, there's only one Azura stage and it's in short supply. Therefore, many Sky Prides will fight outside the city. Huang Ling continued to explain. Lu Ming nodded. It was easy to understand. Outside the city, the local experts would not care about it. Lu Ming and Huang Ling's arrival attracted many people's attention. Many people looked at them. When most people saw Huang Ling, their faces changed and they looked grave and fearful. Lu Ming thought to himself that Huang Ling was very famous in Darkwater City. She was also very powerful. The heavenly spiritual body seemed to be a terrifying existence even in the depths of the 100-tribe battlefield. Of course, many people looked at Lu Ming in surprise. A LV9 Martial Royal Realm Cultivator dares to come to Darkwater City. It's rare. Any LV9 Martial Royal Realm Cultivator who dares to come to Darkwater City has great combat strength. They are very confident in their own combat strength. This person is with Huang Ling. Is he also a powerful cultivator? That's hard to say. Those who are not strong enough will also come to see the world. Some people looked at Lu Ming and whispered among themselves. Bam, bam. At this moment, a young man stepped on the void and landed in front of Lu Ming, emitting the aura of a peak LV9 Martial Emperor. A powerful aura directly locked onto Lu Ming. It's Huang Qi. This guy has his eyes on the 9th layer Martial Dominator. Huang Qi's combat strength is very strong. With his cultivation at the peak of the 9th level of the Martial Royal Realm, he once fought with a Stage 1 sage to be expert for more than 100 moves before he was defeated. It seems that he is eager to hunt. Some people in the surroundings spoke with the mentality of watching a good show. 9th layer of the Martial Emperor realm, since you dare to come to Darkwater City, you must be very confident in your battle strength. Now let's fight. Holy Lady Huang Ling, you won't interfere, right? Huang Qi looked at Lu Ming with battle intent. His last sentence was directed at Huang Ling, as you wish. Huang Ling waved her hands casually and took a few steps back, implying that she would not interfere. However, her eyes were filled with pity as she glanced at Huang Qi. This guy dares to challenge Lu Ming. He's courting death. If he knew that Lu Ming had even slain the 10,000 celestial realm, his expression would be even more shocking. You are no match against me, Lu Ming said calmly. He was not interested in a 9th layer Martial Dominator realm cultivator, as it would not be useful for him to train himself. Lu Ming was too lazy to even attack him. That being said, he was telling the truth, but to Huang Qi's ears, it sounded like Lu Ming was being full of himself. How arrogant. I've even fought against a half-sage to be. You're quite arrogant when you're only a 9th layer Martial Dominator realm cultivator. We'll know if I'm your match after the battle. Huang Qi's eyes became cold as his aura grew stronger. At that instant, Lu Ming's eyes became cold. This was because he felt a sharp qi attack his back at a frightening speed. Without hesitation, Lu Ming turned around and lashed out a punch. Clang. Lu Ming's punch collided with a long sword that was as thin as a cicada's wings. A terrifying fist intent exploded as a figure appeared out of nowhere and was sent flying by the force. This figure was wearing a black robe. His entire body was covered by the black robe. Only a pair of eyes could be seen and they were filled with shock. "It's the assassin of the Thousand Assassins sect," someone yelled. Whoosh. The assassin of the Thousand Assassins sect immediately executed his movement technique after failing to kill Lu Ming. His figure was emitting the aura of the ultimate domain. The assassin's cultivation was at the first layer half-martial sacred realm, which was similar to the two assassins that had tried to assassinate Lu Ming previously. "You want to leave after failing to assassinate me? Did I allow you to do so?" Lu Ming coldly spoke. Wind and lightning aura flashed around his body. With a ripping sound, Lu Ming's figure shot out like a bolt of lightning. He tore through the void and chased after the assassin with shocking speed. The assassin of the Thousand Assassins sect was extremely fast. However, Lu Ming's wind lightning steps had already been cultivated to perfection. With the help of the wind freezing pearl, his speed was even more shocking. He was far above the assassin of the Thousand Assassins sect. Many people only saw a flash of lightning and Lu Ming's figure appeared above the assassin of the Thousand Assassins sect. Then he raised his foot and stomped down on the assassin. Lu Ming executed the hell-suppressing heavenly art. His entire body seemed to have transformed into a huge hell-suppressing steel that could suppress everything. Boom. This stomp destroyed all the attacks and defenses of the Thousand Assassins sect's assassin. Then it heavily stomped on the assassin's head. Bang. The assassin's head and body were like a watermelon that exploded in the air. One move and he was dead. This assassin was also a genius. He had a superior earth spiritual body and was in the first stage of the half-saint realm. Although he couldn't be ranked among the top 10 monstrous geniuses in the Tsang province, he was still one of the stronger ones. However, he was instantly killed by Lu Ming. After coming to the 100-tribe battlefield for a few months, Lu Ming's strength had unknowingly increased by leaps and bounds. What powerful battle strength! Many young geniuses in the surroundings narrowed their eyes and revealed looks of shock. Lu Ming's cultivation was very clear. He was in the early 9th stage of the Martial King realm. However, he had killed a first-stage half-saint genius in one move. Such battle strength was shocking. Many people present were in the first stage of the half-saint realm. If they encountered Lu Ming, they would probably end up in the same situation. Some of the second-stage half-saints who had comprehended the laws had extremely serious expressions. "Another heaven spiritual body," someone said solemnly. There weren't many heaven spiritual bodies even in Darkwada City, which was the center of the 100-tribe battlefield. Each one of them was extremely powerful. Heaven spiritual bodies weren't cabbages that could be found everywhere. Some emperor-level forces that weren't very lucky might not even have a single heaven spiritual body. For example, there were no heaven spiritual bodies in the Tsang province. According to Lu Ming's knowledge, there were no heaven spiritual bodies in the Cloud Emperor Mountain. At this moment, Huang Qi was completely dumbfounded. Do you still want to fight?" Lu Ming looked at Huang Qi. His casual words made Huang Qi's face turn red. Chapter 1624. Back then, he had fought with a first-stage sage to be genius for 100 moves before he was defeated. He had always been proud of that, but now he was nothing compared to Lu Ming. Lu Ming had killed a first-stage sage to be expert with a stomp. If he fought with Lu Ming, he would not even need a stomp. He would only need half a stomp. Previously, Lu Ming had said that he was not qualified to fight, and that was the truth. However, he had said that Lu Ming was arrogant. It was obvious that he was ignorant. "Get lost," Lu Ming shouted coldly. Huang Qi left with a red face. This person is very strong. No wonder he can be with Huang Ling. Birds of a feather flock together. It's normal for a heavenly spiritual body to be with a heavenly spiritual body. However, this person's cultivation is too low. It will be difficult for him to compete with other heavenly spiritual bodies. That's right. Unless his cultivation increases. Lu Ming naturally heard these words, but he only smiled faintly and did not take it to heart. "Huang Ling, do you have a way to get rid of the slaughter mark of the Thousand Slayer Mansion?" Lu Ming stepped in front of Huang Ling and asked. He had the slaughter mark of the Thousand Slayer Mansion on him. As long as the Thousand Slayer Mansion's assassins were within a certain range, they would be able to find him through the slaughter mark. He was not afraid, but it was annoying. Huang Ling shook her head and said, "From what I know, the slaughter mark of the Thousand Slayer Mansion is extremely difficult to get rid of. Moreover, the more Thousand Slayer Mansion's assassins are killed, the stronger the slaughter mark will be and the easier it will be for the Thousand Slayer Mansion's assassins to sense it." Only a martial emperor expert can get rid of the slaughter mark. A martial emperor expert? Lu Ming shook his head bitterly. Where could he find a martial emperor expert? There was definitely none in the 100-tribe battlefield. Even if he left the 100-tribe battlefield, there was not a single martial emperor expert in the Tsang state. There were martial emperors in other domains, but martial emperors were superior and looked down on the world. Why would they help Lu Ming, who was only a martial emperor? It seemed like he would have to be more careful in the future to prevent assassinations from the Thousand Slayers Manor. His main body couldn't stay in the mountain and river diagram every day. He needed to comprehend the great Tao of heaven and earth, and he needed to train and fight. His second body couldn't stay in the mountain and river diagram every day and use the Tai Chi disc array to improve his spirit flame. Lu Ming, the assassins of the Thousand Slayer Manor are feared by even other emperor-ranked forces. Normally, they wouldn't dare to kill the assassins of the Thousand Slayer Manor. At most, they'd cripple them. Because once you're infected by the slaughter mark, you'll have to face endless assassination attempts. You have to be careful in the future. Huang Ling warned. Lu Ming nodded. Following which, the two of them headed towards Darkwater City. Darkwater City was several times larger than the city Lu Ming had stayed in before. The young men walking on the street all had powerful auras. Most of them were at the half-saint realm. Soon Huang Ling brought Lu Ming to a huge hall. At the top of the hall, the three words Phoenix Palace were majestic. Lu Ming, I'm from the Phoenix Palace, an emperor-ranked force. This is the temporary lodging of the Phoenix Palace in the 100-tribe battlefield, Huang Ling explained. The 100-tribe battlefield was a place where many emperor-ranked forces went to train. Therefore, many powerful emperor-ranked forces would purchase palaces in the huge cities of the 100-tribe battlefield as temporary lodgings. After all, they would be exhausted after training outside and fighting with experts. They would need a place to rest and cultivate in seclusion. Saintess. As soon as they entered the hall, two young men and women bowed to Huang Ling. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. It seemed that Huang Ling had a high status in the Phoenix Palace. She was the saintess. Huang Ling nodded and led Lu Ming into the depths of the Phoenix Palace. Along the way they met no less than 20 young men and women. Among these young men and women, the men were handsome and the women were beautiful. All of them were at the half-saint realm and had superior earth spiritual bodies. Similar to the Dragon God Valley, almost everyone in the Phoenix Palace had awakened the Phoenix bloodline and cultivated the Phoenix battle body. So many geniuses. It seems that the Phoenix Palace is a terrifying existence even among the emperor-ranked forces. Along the way Lu Ming was secretly shocked. He had met so many geniuses along the way. Any one of them would be a top genius in the Zhangzhou. Some of them had unfathomable auras and were surrounded by nomological laws. They were obviously second-stage half-saints. There were even half-saints with nomological laws. In the Zhangzhou, such people could compete with the top 10 demon geniuses. This was probably just the tip of the iceberg for the Phoenix Palace. One should know that those above the Saint Realm were not allowed to enter the 100-tribe battlefield. Did the Phoenix Palace not have any geniuses above the Saint Realm? Absolutely. The Yuan continent is huge and there are too many geniuses. The Zhangzhou is just a corner of it. Thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind. Now, his way of thinking was slowly changing. His vision was no longer limited to the Tsang prefecture. The divine sons would eventually become his stepping stones. His opponents would be the peerless geniuses of the emperor-ranked forces in the Yuan continent. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with a strong desire to fight. He felt his blood boiling. Lu Ming, you can stay here for the time being, Huang Ling said as they arrived at a courtyard. All right. Lu Ming nodded. During this period, I will send people to Darkwater City to look for information about the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. If there are other maps of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb or the appearance of the key, it will not be hidden. Once there is news, I will inform you. Huang Ling said. It seems that I was right to work with you. It will save me a lot of trouble. Lu Ming smiled. How will you repay me? Huang Ling smiled and looked at Lu Ming flirtatiously. When such a beautiful woman said such flirtatious words, even with Lu Ming's composure, his heart skipped a beat. Didn't I say that you and I are like dragons and phoenixes? Why don't we do it together? Lu Ming said with a smile. Tisk, is this how you repay me? Aren't you taking advantage of me? Huang Ling rolled her eyes at Lu Ming. She lifted her feet gently and left the place. Lu Ming laughed, pushed open the door of the courtyard and walked in. The courtyard was huge. Lu Ming walked into a random room and entered the mountain river diagram. He sat under the tree of enlightenment and pondered quietly. Dark Water City is where the geniuses of various emperor-ranked forces gather. Although there are not many geniuses like Huang Ling, there are still quite a few of them. Maybe there are geniuses who are stronger than Huang Ling. If the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb really opens, those who enter will be extremely powerful. My combat strength is still not enough. Lu Ming thought to himself. Now, he could suppress someone like Wan Tianqing with the help of his main body and second body. With the help of Bubble, he could take them by surprise and kill them. However, if Lu Ming's main body was alone, he would not be a match for someone like Wan Tianqing. He had to improve his strength as soon as possible. Now, there were two main ways for him to improve his strength. One was to improve his cultivation. When his cultivation improved, his strength would naturally skyrocket. Chapter 1625. Lu Ming sat cross-legged under the Enlightenment ancient tree and cultivated wholeheartedly. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. It's too slow. Without a big battle, it's too slow to cultivate like this. Lu Ming ended his cultivation and muttered to himself. In fact, his cultivation speed was quite fast because he had comprehended the Tao under the Enlightenment ancient tree with the help of the Heavenly Law Stone. However, it was much slower than the speed of cultivation in a fight. There are so many geniuses here. It's a good opportunity to train with someone. It's a pity to miss it. Lu Ming smiled and changed into a black robe. He walked out of the mountain and river diagram and headed out of Darkwater City. After leaving Darkwater City, he looked at the lake not far away and saw many young men standing above the lake. There were also 2 young men who were fighting fiercely. Lu Ming's palm glowed and an Azura mask appeared in his hand. He put it on his face and instantly looked more ferocious. Lu Ming had used the Azura mask when his cultivation was not high. With its material, a high-level martial royal realm expert could see through it at a glance. However, Lu Ming covered it with his true core strength so that others could not see through it. Wearing the Azura mask, Lu Ming stepped forward and walked toward the young men. His body was emitting a cold aura. Some people were alarmed and looked at Lu Ming. When they saw Lu Ming wearing the Azura mask, they were surprised. Humph! A rank 9 martial royal realm cultivator wearing a mask is deliberately mystifying and deceiving us. Someone snorted and looked at Lu Ming coldly. Boom! All of a sudden, Lu Ming made his move. He took a step forward and appeared above the person who had spoken. Then he stepped out. A towering foot was formed. Like the foot of a god, it stomped towards the person who spoke. You're courting death. The person shouted and his true core strength burst out. His aura soared and condensed into a battle saber that slashed toward Lu Ming. The battle saber carried the power of law. This person was a stage 2 half-saint. He had a superior earthly spiritual body. His battle prowess was astonishing. His blade was earth-shattering. Just when many people thought that Lu Ming would be killed with one strike, the result was beyond their expectations. Boom! The gigantic foot stomped down and the saber shattered. The gigantic foot continued to stomp down. Lu Ming stomped the second stage half-saint into the lake below, causing him to spit out a mouthful of blood. Kill? Lu Ming shouted. His fist glowed as he punched out. A terrifying fist energy seemed to have pierced through the void and blasted toward the lake below. Boom! The lake water surged up to the sky and the waves surged. The lake water in that area was blasted away by the fist force, and the bottom of the lake was exposed. A huge crater had appeared at the bottom of the lake. The second stage semi-sage expert was lying in the crater. He was no longer breathing. He had been killed by Lu Ming. Lu Ming stretched out his hand and sucked. His quintessential essence was like a ribbon, coiling up the other party's interspatial ring. The lake water flowed backwards, and that genius remained at the bottom of the lake forever. So powerful. Many people were shocked. Although the person wearing the Azura mask was only a 9th stage martial royal realm cultivator, he was not pretending to be mysterious. He was an extremely terrifying existence. Which force is this genius from? Some people guessed. After all, there were too many emperor-level forces. Every day there would be geniuses from emperor-level forces joining. No one knew what kind of geniuses would appear. Whoosh! Lu Ming's gaze was like lightning, and it was as cold as a knife as he scanned the surroundings. Some people could not help but feel a chill in their hearts when Lu Ming's gaze swept past them. You fight with me. Lu Ming's gaze was fixed on a blood-rogue youth. He took a step forward and punched at the youth. After being in the 100-clan battlefield for several months, Lu Ming had already gotten used to the rules here. There were no rules here, only tempering and challenges. Here you did not need any reason to fight with anyone. Lu Ming was here to fight with experts. He did not want to waste time, so he took the initiative to attack. Don't think that you can fight with me just because you killed a piece of trash. Kill. Seeing that Lu Ming dared to attack him, the blood-robed youth immediately erupted with a terrifying killing intent. His body was covered in a bloody light as he punched out a blood-red palm print, which blasted toward Lu Ming. Boom. Boom. Lu Ming punched out 2 more times, which collided with the blood-red palm print. A terrifying fluctuation was emitted, and Lu Ming's fist force was directly dispersed. The blood-red palm print did not stop, and it carried a terrifying power of law as it blasted toward Lu Ming. Amazing, the heavenly spiritual body is indeed powerful. Lu Ming was not surprised but delighted. He took a step forward and poured his true essence into the flowing essence gloves. He punched out and smashed the blood-red palm print, then continued to attack the blood-robed youth. This blood-robed youth was a heavenly spiritual body, a genius on the same level as Huang Ling and Wan Tianqing. If Lu Ming wanted to fight, he would naturally choose someone who was extremely strong. Weak people were useless. Blood Demon's great palm. The blood-robed youth let out a roar as a bloody glow filled the air. His body seemed to have turned into a bloody aura as he unleashed the power of the law of blood. A giant palm print was formed and pressed down on Lu Ming, trying to smash Lu Ming into a pulp. Lu Ming's body glowed. One by one, bright spots shone and 12 sacred weapons appeared. Lu Ming grabbed the black dragon spear and poured his battle weapon chi into it. The chaotic domain covered the spear and turned it into a mountainous spear glow that stabbed into the sky. Boom. A shocking explosion took place as the spear glow and the blood-red palm print dissipated at the same time. That's the 10,000 weapon art. He's from the Wan clan. The Wan clan has such a terrifying genius. He's so powerful at the 9th layer martial dominator realm? Some people exclaimed in disbelief. Kill the people of the Wan clan. The blood-robed youth was extremely powerful as he flew forward with a cold, murderous intent. The bloody aura on his body grew thicker as if it had turned into a bloody ocean. Whoosh! A blood-red flag appeared in his hand. He waved the blood-red flag and it expanded rapidly. Together with the bloody ocean, it flew toward Lu Ming to wrap around him. Break! Lu Ming threw out the black dragon spear in his hand. It was like a black lightning bolt that pierced through the bloody ocean. At the same time, Lu Ming held a sacred weapon in his hand and stepped forward. He slashed out with his sword and a shocking sword chi appeared as if it was going to split the heavens and earth. The bloody ocean was split open, but after rolling for a while, it merged back together. The black dragon spear flew back without any effect. The bloody ocean spread out and the blood-red flag covered the sky, enveloping Lu Ming. Turn into a pool of bloody water. The blood-robed youth said coldly. The man with the Shura mask is doomed. He's going to die after being enveloped by the blood prison flag. He's going to turn into a pool of bloody water. That's right. The blood prison flag is so powerful that even geniuses of the same level as him would not dare to be enveloped by it. Although the masked man's strength is terrifying, he's only a 9th layer martial dominator realm cultivator. Another genius has fallen. Discussions broke out in all directions. Even the 2 youths who had been fighting at the beginning had stopped fighting. Lu Ming was enveloped by the blood prison flag which covered the sky. He looked around and saw nothing but a sea of blood. A terrifying bloody aura was seeping toward Lu Ming, trying to refine Lu Ming into a pool of bloody water. Chapter 1626. Lu Ming was surrounded by 12 saint weapons. He held the black dragon spear in his hand and performed the 13 strikes. Whoosh! A huge spear light pierced forward, as if it wanted to pierce through the heavens and earth. However, when the spear light pierced into the sea of blood, a huge passageway was pierced through the sea of blood. However, the sea of blood churned and reformed. There was no strength at all. It felt like there was no way to use it. Whoosh! Lu Ming switched to the saint weapon battle sword and slashed out a vast sword chi, but it was still useless. It couldn't break the sea of blood. A heaven spiritual body is indeed powerful. Lu Ming whispered. The scarlet-robed youth's combat strength was not weaker than Wan Tianqing. If Lu Ming called out Bubbles and Ming Lian, he could naturally suppress the opponent. However, that would be meaningless. Lu Ming was here to hone himself. Boom. Boom. Immediately, Lu Ming began to launch a frenzied attack. He used the long spear, the combat sword, the combat saber, and the hell-suppressing heaven skill. All kinds of attacks were launched one after another, bombarding the vast sea of blood. The sea of blood kept rolling and shaking violently. However, the sea of blood still didn't break, but such attacks weren't useless. At least they could stop the Sea of Blood from invading and resist the refining power. Outside the Sea of Blood, young Master Blood Prison stood above the Sea of Blood, his eyes cold. Humph, struggle. Even if you struggle for a while, you will still die in the end. Young Master Blood Prison said coldly. His body became more and more blurred, as if he was about to turn into a bloody light and merge into the Sea of Blood. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In the Sea of Blood, the bloody light began to change, condensing into battle swords and spears, attacking Lu Ming. Good. Lu Ming was fearless. He held the spear in one hand and the sword in the other, clashing with the bloody light. In the blink of an eye, a few minutes had passed and the battle was still going on. Great, hi, your Sea of Blood can't refine me at all. Lu Ming laughed, his voice passing through the Sea of Blood. This made young Master Blood Prison's face turn even uglier. Let's see how long you can last. Young Master Blood Hell shouted coldly. His body transformed into a mass of blood-red light and merged with the Sea of Blood, making the Sea of Blood even more powerful. In front of Lu Ming, the Sea of Blood roiled and suddenly, a huge face appeared. It was none other than Prince Bloodjail's face. Kill? The face roared and boundless blood-red light shot towards Lu Ming. The black dragon spear shook and turned into a spear light that stabbed towards the blood-red light. At the same time, the battle sword in his left hand slashed out, and a huge sword chi slashed out. Boom, boom. This time, the power of the blood light was even stronger. Lu Ming's body shook greatly, and he could not help retreating repeatedly. With his main body alone, he was no match for a genius like Prince Blood Prison. Kill? At this time, Lu Ming suddenly shouted. The divine sword secret art burst out and turned into two black sword lights, piercing into the Sea of Blood. Ah, it's a soul attack. Amidst the blood sea, young Master Blood Prison's pained roar resounded. Whoosh, whoosh. Two sword lights shot out from Lu Ming's eyes again and pierced into the Sea of Blood. Prince Blood Prison screamed again in the Sea of Blood. The Sea of Blood roiled violently, and Prince Blood Prison's body recondensed in the Sea of Blood. His face was pale. It was not that he did not have a spiritual deity defense treasure, but when his body turned into a blood-red light and merged with the Sea of Blood, it meant that his soul was also scattered. Naturally, the spiritual deity defense treasure lost its effect, and Lu Ming had injured his soul. He had to recondense his body so that the spiritual deity defense treasure could be effective. However, when he recondensed his body, the power of the Sea of Blood was naturally weakened. Chaos. Lu Ming shouted and his hands moved rapidly. Outside the Sea of Blood, in the sky, a huge chaos-flipping sky seal condensed. Its size was not smaller than the Sea of Blood. This was the chaos-flipping sky seal that Lu Ming had unleashed with all his strength. What a terrifying attack. Outside, many geniuses were pale when they saw the huge chaos-flipping sky seal in the sky. They felt that if such an attack landed on them, their souls would be scattered. Boom. The chaos-flipping sky seal pressed down on the Sea of Blood. Rumble. The Sea of Blood shook violently and rolled crazily, erupting a terrifying confrontation with the chaos-flipping sky seal. In the sky there were continuous explosions. There's an exit. In the Sea of Blood, Lu Ming looked up and his eyes lit up. The chaos-flipping sky seal collided with the Sea of Blood, and finally, a gap was created. Lu Ming used the wind thunder step, and with a step, his body turned into wind and thunder, and instantly rushed out of the gap, rushing out of the Sea of Blood. That guy rushed out. Some people exclaimed in shock. It should be known that it was not easy to rush out of young Master Blood Prison's Sea of Blood. Very few people could do it. Boom. At this time, the chaos-flipping sky seal, due to the continuous collision with the Sea of Blood, finally exhausted its energy and exploded. However, the Sea of Blood had also withered a lot. This was not because the chaos-flipping sky seal was not powerful, but mainly because Lu Ming's cultivation was too weak. The Sea of Blood contained the power of law. Also, the chaos-flipping sky seal was still at the 4th level, so its power was naturally limited. Even if you rush out of the Sea of Blood, you still have to die. The young master of the Blood Prison shouted coldly. The Sea of Blood condensed into a blood flag and he held it in his hand. The blood light on his body continuously surged into the blood flag. The blood flag expanded to 100,000 feet in size and swept toward Lu Ming. Bus. Lu Ming's long spear swept out, and it also became 10,000 feet large. The two of them made a terrifying collision and heaven and earth roared. Lu Ming stepped on the void and retreated. In a head-on confrontation, he was no match for young Master Blood Prison. Kill, kill, kill. The 10,000 feet blood flag swept toward Lu Ming continuously. Lu Ming put down the black dragon spear, holding a chaos-flipping sky seal in his hand, and smashed it toward Lu Ming. This chaos-flipping sky seal had about 60% of its power. Boom. The chaos-flipping sky seal was defeated by the blood flag. But then a few more chaos-flipping sky seals appeared in Lu Ming's hand, and he continuously smashed them out. The two of them fought fiercely, and they continuously exchanged more than 10 blows. Although Lu Ming was at a disadvantage, it was impossible for young Master Blood Prison to kill Lu Ming in a short time. Boom. Another earth-shattering roar sounded, and Lu Ming retreated quickly. Haha, today is a good day. Let's fight another day. Lu Ming laughed and his body flashed, heading toward Darkwater City behind him. You want to leave? Stay. Young Master Blood Prison shouted, and his killing intent was as cold as a knife. Today he had been provoked by a man of LV9 Martial Royal Realm. In the end he had not defeated his opponent. How could he show his face? He would not be reconciled if he did not kill Lu Ming. He waved the blood flag and quickly chased after Lu Ming. But Lu Ming used the Gale Thunder steps, and his speed suddenly increased. In a flash he had rushed into Darkwater City. Damn it! Young Master Blood Prison roared, but he could only stop. Chapter 1627. In the previous battle, his true origin was about to be exhausted. However, he had used all his strength in the battle, but he was still suppressed by his opponent. However, he had gained new insights from the battle. He had a new understanding of the heaven and earth Tao. As long as he digested it, he would definitely make progress. Soon he returned to the Phoenix Palace and entered the mountain and river diagram. He sat cross-legged under the Enlightenment ancient tree and began to comprehend. 2 days later, Lu Ming finished his cultivation. Fighting with an expert in a life-and-death battle, my progress is indeed fast. It's not something that cultivation alone can compare to. Lu Ming smiled. His primal chaos domain had improved again. Then let's continue. Lu Ming smiled and left the Phoenix Palace. He found a secluded place and changed into the black robe and Azura mask before heading out of the city. It's that Azura, he's here again. Lu Ming's arrival attracted many people's attention. After all, 2 days ago the battle between Lu Ming and Prince Blood Prison had spread like wildfire. Fight. Lu Ming was still as domineering as before. He fixed his eyes on a young man and threw a punch at him. Judging from his aura, this young man should be at the same level as Prince Blood Prison. You're courting death. The young man shouted coldly and engaged in a fierce battle with Lu Ming. This time, Lu Ming was still at a disadvantage and exchanged more than 100 blows with the young man. Go to hell, kid. At this time, a crimson light rushed out of Darkwater City. It was Prince Blood Prison. He had heard the news and rushed out aggressively. I won't keep you company today. We'll fight again in 2 days. Lu Ming smiled and used the Gale Thunder steps. After a few flashes, he avoided Prince Blood Prison and rushed into Darkwater City. This guy is using us as whetstones. The young man who had fought with Lu Ming today said coldly. No one would feel comfortable being used as a whetstone by a rank 9 Martial Royal Realm cultivator. That guy's cultivation technique is strange. The secret skill he used is the secret skill of the Wan clan, the 10,000 weapons art. However, the domain doesn't seem to be the 10,000 weapons domain. It's like the legendary chaotic domain. There's actually someone in the world who can cultivate the chaotic domain? How shocking. Furthermore, his spirit body seems to be related to the 9 dragons. Around the lake, some youths were discussing. These people were all geniuses from Emperor-ranked forces. Naturally, they had keen eyesight. Lu Ming's domain and spirit body couldn't be hidden from them. This is truly a great era. I never expected to meet someone who has cultivated the Primal Chaos domain in the 100-tribe battlefield. The Primal Chaos domain is one of the 10 strongest domains. In the future, when it is cultivated into a law, it will also be one of the 10 strongest laws. That's right. I've heard that there are people who have successfully cultivated other supreme laws as well. If we can see the clash of supreme laws, how exciting would that be? The prodigy who fought with Lu Ming today muttered to himself. After Lu Ming entered Darkwater City, he changed back into his disguise and headed for Phoenix Palace. Unexpectedly, just as he returned to Phoenix Palace, he bumped into Huang Ling, who was looking for him. Lu Ming, there's news of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb's map and key. Huang Ling said. Oh, how is it? Lu Ming's eyes lit up as he asked. There's indeed more than one copy of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb's map and key. In different places, the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb have appeared and been obtained by different people. This matter has now spread like wildfire in Darkwater City. Huang Ling said. Do you know who obtained it? Lu Ming asked. I don't know, but I'm sure that many people are in Darkwater City. Huang Ling shook her head. It seems that everyone is waiting. Then we don't have to be anxious. There will definitely be someone who can't wait and take the lead, Lu Ming said. Huang Ling nodded and then discussed with Lu Ming before leaving. Lu Ming continued to enter the mountain river diagram and cultivated with all his might. In the following days, Lu Ming would challenge experts outside the city every 2 days. Among them, he fought with Prince of the Bloody Inferno the most. However, although Lu Ming was at a disadvantage, Prince of the Bloody Inferno could do anything to Lu Ming. In this way, a month passed in the blink of an eye. During this month, the name Azura had spread throughout Darkwater City and he had become a famous battle maniac in Darkwater City. Everyone knew that Lu Ming was using the geniuses as whetstones. On the other hand, the geniuses were using Lu Ming as a whetstone to force themselves to improve. In the past month, Lu Ming had made rapid progress and had reached the peak of the 9th layer martial dominator realm. Therefore, in the end, Lu Ming was no longer at a disadvantage when he challenged the geniuses. He was even able to fight them to a draw. There were too many geniuses in the 100-tribe battlefield and there was no lack of opponents. Therefore, Lu Ming was able to make rapid progress. If he was in the Zhangzhou state, he would not have made such rapid progress because there were not so many opponents. The collision between geniuses could promote one's progress, and Lu Ming's progress was especially obvious. On this day, Lu Ming was cultivating in the mountain river diagram. Suddenly, his heart skipped a beat. There seemed to be some movement outside. Lu Ming ended his cultivation and came out of the mountain river diagram. Caw. As soon as he came out of the mountain river diagram, a sharp cry came from high up in the sky, resounding and reverberating between heaven and earth. Lu Ming came out of the room and looked up at the sky. He saw that there were a few suns in the sky. No, they were not suns but a few golden crows. Divine birds, 3-legged golden crows. It was a few 3-legged golden crows. 3-legged golden crows were known as divine birds of the sun. Like true dragons and phoenixes, they were extremely terrifying divine beasts. Yan Kuangtu's bloodline was the 3-legged golden crow. Several 3-legged golden crows were circling in the sky above Darkwater City. Their bodies were covered in golden flames and they shone brightly like a sun. What's going on? Why are those 3-legged golden crows circling in the sky? The disciples of Phoenix Palace were also alarmed. They appeared in the sky one by one and looked up at the sky. Huang Ling's figure appeared beside Lu Ming. Caw, caw. A total of 4 3-legged golden crows let out bright cries. Then they turned into 4 golden rogue youths and stood in 4 corners of Darkwater City. Everyone, I, the Crown Prince of the Golden Crow tribe, have something to say to all of you. The 4 Golden Crow tribe youths spoke at the same time. Their voices spread throughout Darkwater City. Caw. At this moment, an even louder cry of the golden crow resounded in the sky. Dazzling golden light filled the sky. Then a figure that was 10,000 feet tall appeared in the sky. This was a young man. He wasn't corporeal but was formed from true essence and the power of the laws. He wore a golden robe with a sun embroidered on it. He wore a golden crown on his head. He was handsome and cold and he exuded a powerful majesty. Greetings, 10th Crown Prince. The 4 Golden Crow tribe youths greeted the 10,000 feet tall figure at the same time. It's the 10th Crown Prince of the Golden Crow tribe. This person is extremely terrifying. His physical body is equivalent to an inferior heaven spiritual body. Moreover, he has reached the 3rd stage of the half-saint realm, the vessel of law's realm. Chapter 1628. Jar of the Precepts? Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. The jar of the precepts, as the name suggested, was the power of the precepts. When it entered the body, every muscle and even every cell would be filled with the power of the precepts. At this level, the physical strength of a person's body would skyrocket. His combat strength would also be terrifying. He was only half a step away from the saint realm. Huang Ling also had an inferior heaven spiritual body. She was a prodigy at the same level as the 10th prince. However, she was only a stage 2 half-saint. If she fought with the 10th prince, she would be easily defeated. In the 100-tribe battlefield, this kind of prodigy was the strongest. Prodigies who were even stronger would rarely come to the 100-tribe battlefield because there would be no training for them. The 10th Golden Crow Prince looked around and said, I'm sure everyone knows that the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb is about to appear. Many people were shocked. The 10th prince's first sentence was about the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. Was he doing this because of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb? Finally, someone can't help it. Lu Ming smiled faintly and glanced at Huang Ling. I also know that some people have already obtained the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. It is in Darkwater City. The 10th prince continued. Many people's eyes lit up. They knew that the 10th prince was going to take the lead. However, the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb are divided into many parts. It is useless to obtain a single part. Only by gathering them together can we find the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb and obtain the treasures inside. Today I will take the lead. I also have the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. Those who have the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb can gather at the Golden Crow Hall tomorrow at noon. After all, these maps and keys are useless if they are not combined. They can only be scraps. In the end, the Golden Crow 10th prince added. Then his enormous body disappeared. He disappeared from the sky. The 4 people from the Golden Crow clan also disappeared from the sky. How about it? Are we going to the Golden Crow Hall tomorrow? Huang Ling looked at Lu Ming. Of course. If we don't go, our maps and keys will be useless. Lu Ming said with a smile. At this moment, some people in Darkwater City were also looking at the 10th prince. The entire Darkwater City was discussing this matter. After a day of silence, Lu Ming and Huang Ling headed for the Golden Crow Hall at noon the next day. The Golden Crow Palace was also bought by the Golden Crows in Darkwater City as a temporary residence. It was very large and was not smaller than the Phoenix Palace. When Lu Ming and Huang Ling arrived at the square in front of the Golden Crow Hall, they realized that it was already crowded. Many geniuses had gathered around the square. There were also many natives. Most of them didn't have the map or the key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. They were only here to watch the show and see who had the key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. There were dozens of golden-robed young men standing on the square. They were all members of the Golden Crow tribe. Among these people there was a young man with a golden crown on his head. He sat on a chair and looked around with a dignified expression. He was the 10th prince of the Golden Crow tribe. Lu Ming and Huang Ling blended into the crowd and did not go out. Who has the map and key to the Reincarnation Monarch's tomb? Come out. The voice of the Golden Crow clan's 10th prince sounded. Bang, bang. At that moment, a figure stepped into the air and landed on the square. It was a young man who looked to be in his 20s. He was tall and slender and was surrounded by lightning. His aura was intimidating. It's wild lightning Yi Dongfang from the Thunder God sect. Someone exclaimed. This person is very powerful. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. The lightning surrounding Yi Dongfang was formed by the law of lightning. Once he attacked, it was earth-shattering. Yi Dongfang is extremely terrifying. He is an expert who is not weaker than the 10th prince. Huang Ling transmitted her voice to Lu Ming. Yi Dongfang, you have the map and key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb? The 10th prince's eyes shot out 2 beams of golden light as he stared at Yi Dongfang. That's right. Yi Dongfang's hand glowed and a jade talisman and key appeared in his hand. They were almost the same as the jade talisman and key that Lu Ming and Huang Ling had obtained. Take out your map and key, Yi Dongfang said. The 10th Golden Crow Prince smiled. With a wave of his hand, a jade talisman and a key appeared in his hand. Surprisingly, there were 2 jade talismans and 2 keys. You actually obtained 2 sets of maps and keys. Lightning energy shot out of Yi Dongfang's eyes. Many prodigies looked at the jade talismans and keys in the 10th prince and Yi Dongfang's hands with burning eyes. However, no one dared to do anything. Trying to get the 10th prince and Yi Dongfang's hands was no different from seeking death. 3 sets. It's obviously far from enough. Who else has the map and key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb? The Golden Crow 10th prince looked around again. Us. At this moment, 2 more figures stepped into the square. These 2 youths were undoubtedly extremely terrifying prodigies. Although they were not as strong as Yi Dongfang and the 10th prince, they were on the same level as Huang Ling, the Blood Jail Prince, and Wan Tianqing. A jade talisman and key appeared in their hands. After a while, another person stepped out and took out a jade talisman and key. After a while, another person walked out. There was no doubt that these people who had obtained the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb's jade talisman and key were extremely terrifying. None of them were weaker than the Blood Jail Prince and Wan Tianqing. Including the one in the 10th prince's hand, there were 6 sets of jade talismans and keys to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. The eyes of Yi Dongfang, the 10th prince, and the others lit up. If this continued, they might be able to gather the map and key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. Anyone else? The 10th prince's voice sounded again. Let's go out. Huang Ling sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming. Okay. Lu Ming nodded. The two of them stepped out and landed on the square, immediately attracting everyone's attention. That's Huang Ling from the Phoenix Palace. Who is that kid? How can he stand with Fairy Huang Ling? I know. That kid came to Darkwater City with Huang Ling. He was assassinated by an assassin from the Thousand Slayer Manor as soon as he arrived, but that assassin was easily killed by him. He actually dared to kill an assassin from the Thousand Slayer Manor. How bold. Discussions broke out in the surroundings. The 10th prince glanced at Lu Ming and Huang Ling before skipping over Lu Ming and looking at Huang Ling. He said, Huang Ling, do you have the map and key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb? It's not with me. It should be with both of us. Huang Ling said as a key appeared in her hand. A jade talisman appeared in Lu Ming's hand. Chapter 1629. The 10th Golden Crow Prince, Yi Dongfang, and the others were surprised. They had not expected Lu Ming, a rank 9 martial royal realm cultivator, to have a map. It was obviously a set with the key in Huang Ling's hand. However, given Huang Ling's strength, why didn't she take the map from Lu Ming? Wouldn't it be better to combine the map and the key? Why did she let them have the same map? Is he from the Phoenix Palace? The 10th Golden Crow Prince asked curiously. No. Huang Ling shook her head. Not from the Phoenix Palace? Many people's eyes lit up. A mere rank 9 martial royal realm cultivator is not qualified to have the map of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. Give it to me. A cold voice sounded. A figure stepped out and a powerful aura shrouded Lu Ming. Prince Blood Prison. A cold light flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. Brat, give me the map of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. You don't deserve it. Prince Blood Prison said coldly, his eyes full of greed. Even with his strength, he did not have the key or the map of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. This made him jealous. None of the others were weaker than him, so he did not dare to touch them. However, Lu Ming was only a rank 9 martial royal realm cultivator, so he did not take him seriously. The 10th Golden Crow Prince, Yi Dongfang, and the others looked on indifferently. They did not say anything nor did they stop him. Having the map or the key meant that one was qualified to enter the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb with them. However, those who had the map or the key were all talented and powerful. Lu Ming was only a rank 9 martial royal realm cultivator. How could he be qualified to go with them? I don't deserve it? Do you? Lu Ming sneered. I don't? Then I'll let you know whether I have it or not. Prince Blood Prison's eyes were cold. A bloody light gathered on his body and a powerful aura pressed down on Lu Ming. Suddenly, the cry of a phoenix was heard. Huang Ling released a powerful aura and stood in front of Lu Ming. She stared at Prince Blood Prison and said coldly, Blood Prison, Lu Ming is with me. If you want to attack him, let's see if you can defeat me. Huang Ling, what are you doing? Do you really want to work with a 9th layer martial emperor? I'm afraid that when we enter the Reincarnation Monarch's tomb, this person will only drag you down. Give me the map and cooperate with me, that's the way to go. Young Master Blood Prison said, trying to persuade Huang Ling, scram or fight. Huang Ling scolded coldly. You, Prince Blood Prison was enraged, but he was wary of Huang Ling. Although Huang Ling was a genius at the same level as him, Huang Ling had the immortal heavenly phoenix body. Her life force was too strong. When she fought, she did not fear death. With her powerful life force, she could often exhaust her opponents to death. Among the prodigies of the same level, Huang Ling was undoubtedly extremely difficult to deal with. Damn it. Young Master Blood Prison roared in his heart. What was wrong with Huang Ling? Was there something wrong with her brain? She would rather cooperate with Lu Ming than with him. What was the difference between bringing along Lu Ming and bringing along a burden? Could this brat be Huang Ling's lover? Young Master Blood Prison had such a thought. Not only him but many people around the square also had the same thought. Brat, with your cultivation, you won't be able to obtain any treasures even if you enter the Reincarnation Monarch's tomb. You'll only waste the map. Now I'll give you a chance to sell the map to me. How about it? Young Master Blood Prison was still unwilling to give up. Scram. Lu Ming's answer was very simple. He only had one word. What did you say? Young Master Blood Prison's killing intent surged. He stared at Lu Ming viciously and said, Brat, don't think that you can be arrogant just because you have Huang Ling's support. You're just a piece of trash who only knows how to hide behind a woman. Let's see if you can keep the map of the Reincarnation Monarch's tomb. Having said that, young Master Blood Prison snorted coldly and stepped into the air, leaving the square. Among the crowd, two people looked at Lu Ming with fear. They were Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang. The two of them had also come to Darkwater City. They knew Lu Ming's combat strength. Back then Wan Chanqing was killed by Lu Ming. Of course, they would not remind young Master Blood Prison of Lu Ming's combat strength. Wouldn't it be better for Lu Ming to make enemies? They could use others to deal with Lu Ming. Does anyone else have the map and key to the Reincarnation Monarch's tomb? The 10th Golden Crow Prince's voice sounded again. Around the square, everyone looked at each other. This time no one stepped forward. Then the 10th Golden Crow Prince asked a few more times, but no one stepped forward. Obviously there was no one else. Everyone, we have 7 maps here. Let's take a look and see if everyone is here. What do you think? The 10th Golden Crow Prince suggested. Great, that's what I want. Yi Dongfang was the first to speak. Then the others nodded. Let's activate the patterns of the maps and put them together, the 10th Golden Crow Prince said. Then he waved his hand and a golden light screen enveloped them so that the others around the square could not see them. Many sighed. They had wanted to peek at the maps, but it seemed like it was impossible. Within the golden light screen, the 10th Golden Crow Prince took out 2 jade talismans. He poured his energy into them and the 2 jade talismans glowed. 2 maps appeared in the air. Then Yi Dongfang also poured his ethereal force into the jade talisman, and another map appeared. The 3 pieces of the map were pieced together in the air to form a larger map, but it was obvious that it was incomplete. Then the others also poured their ethereal force into the jade talismans, and the incomplete maps appeared. Lu Ming did the same. The jade talisman in his hand also appeared. There were a total of 7 maps pieced together. It's still incomplete. The 10th Golden Crow Prince's face darkened. Obviously, the 7 maps were pieced together to form a relatively large map. However, it was obvious that something was still missing. There was a missing piece in the middle and a corner on both sides. Judging from the size, there should be 3 missing pieces. There should be a total of 10 maps and 10 keys. It's indeed incomplete. The map doesn't indicate the specific location at all. It seems that the specific location will only be shown when all 10 maps are complete. Yi Dongfang said. Maybe the person who obtained the remaining maps and keys is not in Darkwater City, but in the other 3 cities. Someone said. There were a total of 4 cities in the center of the 100-tribe battlefield, and a large number of prodigies had gathered there. The remaining maps were likely in the other cities. It's possible. I will send people to the other 3 cities to spread the news. During this period, it's best for us to stay in Darkwater City. Once the maps and keys are gathered, we will set off for the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. The 10th Golden Crow Prince said. The others nodded and put away the maps. Some of them glanced coldly at Lu Ming, and a strange light flashed in their eyes. However, after glancing at Huang Ling, they were all wary. The 10th Golden Crow Prince waved his hand, and the light screen disappeared. Chapter 1630. I have something to do. I'll take my leave. Yi Dongfang said and then left. Me too. Then the others left as well. It seems that the map is not complete. Otherwise they would not have left. That should be the case. They are waiting for the rest of the map and the key. The people around speculated. Lu Ming and Huang Ling also stepped into the air and left. Many people's gazes landed on Lu Ming. All of them had greedy looks on their faces. No one knew what they were up to. Soon Lu Ming and Huang Ling returned to the Phoenix Palace. I must continue to improve my strength, Lu Ming thought to himself. With his current combat strength, together with Bubble and Ming Lian's second body, it was more than enough to deal with a prodigy like young Master Bloodjail. However, he was still lacking when facing prodigies like the Golden Crow 10th Prince and Yi Dongfang. However, Lu Ming's current cultivation had reached the peak of LV9 Martial Royal Realm. It was too difficult for him to break through in a short time. This was because he would be able to comprehend the ultimate realm and enter stage 1 of the Sage to Be. Entering the Sage to Be from LV9 Martial Royal Realm was a difficult task. Lu Ming had 2 ways to improve his combat strength in a short time. The first was the Chaotic Flipping Sky Seal. The second was to improve his soul power. He felt that he could soon break through the Chaotic Flipping Sky Seal and enter stage 5. As for his soul power, as long as he refined the demon crystals, it would continue to improve. Although geniuses like young Master Blood Prison and Huang Ling had spiritual deity defensive treasures to protect their souls, the defensive power was relative. If one's soul power was strong enough, it could still break through the defense and cause great damage to the soul. If Lu Ming's soul power was comparable to that of a bright sage expert, or even a great sage expert, he would only need to shout and look at young Master Blood Prison. He would be able to break through young Master Blood Prison's spirit deity defensive treasure and destroy his soul. In the final analysis, Lu Ming's soul power was not strong enough. Now, his soul power was comparable to that of a stage 2 sage to be. When Lu Ming's soul power reached stage 3, even if his opponent had spiritual deity defensive treasures, it would still cause great damage. Therefore, Lu Ming decided not to challenge them for the time being. He would cultivate in peace in Phoenix Palace. Lu Ming sat cross-legged under the ancient tree of enlightenment. His mind entered a state of emptiness as he comprehended the chaotic flipping sky seal. In Darkwada City, young Master Blood Prison sat in a hall of a palace. His face was cold. "I must get a map or key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb," young Master Blood Prison said coldly as he clenched his fists. Without the map or key of the Reincarnation Monarch's tomb, he didn't even have the right to participate. Only with a map or key of the Reincarnation Monarch's tomb would he have the right to participate. "Young Master, do you have any plans?" There were several other young men in the hall, all of whom were subordinates of young Master Blood Prison. Snatch. Young Master Blood Prison's eyes lit up. He said, "That guy called Lu Ming is just the LV9 Martial Royal Realm Cultivator. What right does he have to have a map? That map should belong to me." The others' faces changed. One of them said, "But young Master, Lu Ming is hiding in Darkwada City. We can't attack him there. Moreover, he's in Phoenix Palace. Phoenix Spirit is in Phoenix Palace. How can we snatch it?" "I'll find a way to get help to deal with Phoenix Spirit. As long as Phoenix Spirit is lured away, Lu Ming will be easy to deal with. He's just a LV9 Martial Royal Realm Cultivator. As long as we capture Lu Ming and quickly escape from Darkwada City, the Saint Realm experts in Darkwada City won't be able to do anything," young Master Blood Prison said coldly. "Young Master, you're brilliant." The others quickly flattered him. "Well, during this period you should pay attention to Phoenix Palace and Lu Ming's movements. I'll find a way to get help to lure Phoenix Spirit away. As long as we find someone to help, we can start," young Master Blood Prison said. Lu Ming had no idea about young Master Blood Prison's secret plan. He was wholeheartedly practicing the chaotic flipping sky seal. Lu Ming had already cultivated the primal chaos flipping sky seal to the peak of the 4th level. After this period of killing and tempering, it was on the verge of a breakthrough. Therefore, after Lu Ming cultivated wholeheartedly for 2 days, the primal chaos flipping sky seal naturally broke through and reached the 5th level. It was very difficult to cultivate the chaotic flipping sky seal. For example, Lu Ming did not spend too much time cultivating the Wind Thunder Steps and the 13 accumulated strikes. However, he had only broken through to the 5th level after cultivating the chaotic flipping sky seal for so long. It was difficult to cultivate, but correspondingly, it was more powerful. Every time the chaotic flipping sky seal broke through a level, its power would soar, especially in the last 2 levels. In the mountain river diagram, Lu Ming stood on the top of a mountain. The chaotic domain was surging. In his palm, a chaotic flipping sky seal appeared and grew larger. Then Lu Ming's palm shook and the chaotic flipping sky seal disappeared automatically. Then, in the other palm of Lu Ming, another chaotic flipping sky seal condensed. In the past, Lu Ming had to make gestures with both hands to condense the chaotic flipping sky seal. But now he could condense the chaotic flipping sky seal without making gestures. In this way it would be more convenient to fight. "Now let's increase my soul power." Lu Ming smiled and sat down. He took out a piece of demon crystal and began to refine it. In the blink of an eye, another 5 days passed. After 5 days of continuous refining, Lu Ming's soul power also broke through. The strength of his soul power was equivalent to that of a stage 3 half-saint. "It's time to go out and see if there's any news," Lu Ming thought to himself. In the next moment he came out of the mountain river diagram and sent a message to Huang Ling. Soon Huang Ling found Lu Ming. "Huang Ling, how's it going? Has anyone who has the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb come?" Lu Ming asked. 3 days ago an expert came. He has a map and a key. Now he's short of 2. Huang Ling said. "Oh, looks like it'll be soon." Lu Ming smiled. "Lu Ming, the situation in Darkwada City is getting more and more complicated. Many experts from other cities have come. You have to be careful." Huang Ling reminded him. Lu Ming nodded. He had a hunch that there would be a storm before the opening of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. Darkwater City would not be peaceful. At this time, a female disciple of the Phoenix Palace came and bowed to Huang Ling. Saintess, young Master Tianying of the Skybird Palace has sent someone here. He said that young Master Tianying has arranged a banquet at the Drunken Immortal restaurant and would like to invite Saintess for a chat. Young Master Tianying? Huang Ling frowned. Saintess, are you going? The people of the Skybird Palace also said that young Master Tianying has invited the Golden Crow's 10th prince. You're the only one left. The female disciple of the Phoenix Palace said. Huang Ling pondered for a moment and said, Go and tell them that I'll be there in a while. Yes. Chapter 1631. Skybird Palace? Is it also an Emperor-level force? Lu Ming asked curiously. That's right. It's a terrifying Emperor-level force. Skybird Palace is made up of flying beasts and divine beasts. They have many experts. As for Phoenix Palace, although we are humans, our bloodline and spiritual bodies are related to the Phoenix. Therefore, Phoenix Palace and Skybird Palace have a good relationship. Young Master Tianying is a peerless genius of Skybird Palace. He invited me to a banquet and I can't reject him. Lu Ming, you can walk around Phoenix Palace. I'm leaving. Huang Ling said. Alright, go ahead. Lu Ming nodded. Huang Ling turned and left. Lu Ming walked around Phoenix Palace for a while to relax. He then returned to his room and planned to enter the mountain river diagram to continue cultivating. At that moment, Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. There were people in his room. 3 young men looked at Lu Ming with sharp eyes. Swoosh. One of the young men moved and appeared at the door. After a while, an inscription talisman appeared. Endless inscriptions filled the air and formed a halo that shrouded the room. Everyone, you've entered the wrong room. Lu Ming said lightly. Nonsense. Lu Ming, hand over the map of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. You're not qualified to have it. One of the young men said coldly. The 3 young men exuded powerful auras. They were all stage 2 sage to be experts. However, they had superior earth spiritual bodies. Who sent you here? Tell me and get lost. Lu Ming said coldly. You're courting death. Since you're not handing it over, I'll take it myself. One of the young men said coldly and stepped forward. He grabbed at Lu Ming with his palm. His palm expanded rapidly and was filled with blood-red light. Boom. Lu Ming threw a punch. The young man's palm exploded and his body was sent flying. He crashed into the halo and shattered it. His body crashed through the wall and flew out. Then Lu Ming turned around and threw another punch. The young man standing at the door was also sent flying by the same punch. How is this possible? The last young man was astounded. They were all in the second stage of the half-step saint realm and had comprehended the laws. However, they weren't a match for Lu Ming and were sent flying by Lu Ming's punches. Without a second thought, he shot up into the sky, broke through the room and rushed out. Since you're here, don't leave. Lu Ming said coldly. His figure flickered as he chased after the young man. The young man was scared out of his wits and shouted, Young master, save me. Boom. Just as the other party's voice faded, Lu Ming had already appeared beside him. The flowing element gloves glowed, and with a punch the other party was torn into pieces. Generally speaking, geniuses with superior earthly spiritual bodies were no match for Lu Ming unless they had reached the 3rd stage of the half-saint realm and had a body of laws. They would be easily crushed and killed. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At this moment, the sound of something tearing through the air could be heard as a dozen figures charged toward Lu Ming. Their cold killing intent was not concealed at all. So many experts had actually come in. Kill? Lu Ming shouted. The divine sword art was activated through sound waves and rushed toward the experts. With Lu Ming's soul power that had reached the 3rd stage of the half-step saint realm, the divine sword art's power was amazing. The young men suddenly screamed and fell to the ground one after another, no longer breathing. Damn it, Lu Ming, you deserve to die. An angry roar sounded as a blood-red figure appeared in the air and charged toward Lu Ming. Young Master Blood Prison, it's really you. Lu Ming said coldly. The last person to appear was young Master Blood Prison. At this moment, young Master Blood Prison's body was filled with cold killing intent and his eyes were red. He was angry and heartbroken. Originally, he had thought that dealing with Lu Ming and a few second-stage half-step saints would be enough. He had brought a dozen experts to support them. However, he did not expect that 3 experts would be killed by Lu Ming in an instant. Even the other dozen experts were killed by Lu Ming's soul attack. These were all supreme talents which made his heart bleed. He had to tear Lu Ming into pieces. Ooh! A blood-red flag appeared in his hand. The flag expanded rapidly and covered the sky. It turned into a sea of blood that shrouded Lu Ming and the entire courtyard. Who's there? The disciples of Phoenix Palace were alarmed. They rushed out of their courtyards and stood in the air. When they saw the sea of blood, their faces changed. The sea of blood was too terrifying. If an ordinary person was shrouded in it, they would die. It's young Master Blood Prison. How dare he cause trouble in our Phoenix Palace? Go and report to the Saintess. The disciples of Phoenix Palace were in an uproar. The commotion was huge. Not only Phoenix Palace, but more than half of the city was alarmed. Figures rushed into the air and watched from afar. It's young Master Blood Prison. He actually attacked Phoenix Palace. He must be after the map of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb in Lu Ming's hands. But to be honest, that Lu Ming is not qualified to have a map. Isn't young Master Blood Prison afraid that Huang Ling will attack? He's probably using some other method to stop Huang Ling. Many people thought for a moment and guessed young Master Blood Prison's motive. Drunken Immortal and was some distance away from Phoenix Palace, but the commotion in Phoenix Palace still reached here. Damn it, it's young Master Blood Prison. Huang Ling rushed out of Drunken Immortal Inn and looked in the direction of Phoenix Palace with a gloomy face. Whoosh, whoosh. Two figures appeared beside Huang Ling. One was a young man in a black feathered robe, and the other was the 10th Golden Crow Prince. Huang Ling, let's continue drinking. The young man in the black feathered robe said indifferently. Young Master Tianying, I didn't expect you to join forces with young Master Blood Prison. You asked me out in advance so that young Master Blood Prison can take action. Huang Ling looked coldly at the young man in the black feathered robe. This person was young Master Tianying of Skybird Palace. Young Master Tianying chuckled and did not deny or admit it. But there was indeed an aura that locked onto Huang Ling. What is young Master Blood Prison doing? He actually caused such a huge commotion when dealing with a mere rank 9 Martial Royal. Young Master Tianying snorted coldly in his heart. The 10th Golden Crow Prince looked indifferent. He did not know about this beforehand, and now that he knew, he would not care. Huang Ling, let's continue drinking. Young Master Tianying continued. Alright, if you want to drink, I'll drink with you. Huang Ling suddenly smiled inexplicably and turned to return to Drunken Immortal Inn. This stunned young Master Tianying. He thought that Huang Ling would rush to Phoenix Palace to rescue them. He did not expect Huang Ling to return to Drunken Immortal Inn. It seems that Huang Ling and Lu Ming are not on good terms. Young Master Tianying laughed in his heart. Chapter 1632. In Phoenix Palace, young Master Blood Prison was frantically activating the blood flag. He was about to turn into a bloody light and merge with the blood sea. He wanted to refine Lu Ming. This move again. There was a cold smile at the corners of Lu Ming's lips. Then he raised both his hands in the air. Boom. In the sky, a huge chaotic flipping sky seal appeared and pressed down on the blood sea like a mountain. Boom. The blood sea shook violently. A large amount of bloody energy was destroyed. The blood sea was constantly suppressed and shrunk. When Lu Ming had first fought with young Master Blood Prison, he had used the chaotic flipping sky seal with all his might, but he had only been able to create a small opening in the blood sea. Now that the chaotic flipping sky seal had broken through to the 5th level, its power had increased tremendously. Even if Lu Ming had not used all his strength, he could still suppress the blood sea and constantly destroy it. Swish! The blood sea shook. Lu Ming turned into a beam of light and rushed out of the blood sea. He stood in the sky. Azura, Lu Ming, you are Azura. Young Master Blood Prison shouted wildly and his voice spread far and wide. What? Azura? Lu Ming is Azura? That mysterious and powerful Azura is Lu Ming? It's possible. Don't forget that Azura's cultivation is also at LV9 Martial Royal Realm, the same as Lu Ming. Many people were surprised by young Master Blood Prison's shout. Lu Ming was the mysterious Azura who had been challenging experts. Whoosh! Young Master Blood Prison put away the blood sea. The blood sea turned back into a flag and he held it in his hand. Lu Ming, since you are Azura, I have found the wrong person. Having said that, young Master Blood Prison wanted to retreat. He knew that if Lu Ming was Azura, he would not be able to defeat Lu Ming. Oh, you have come today. Just like your men, stay here forever. Lu Ming said coldly as he took a step forward. At the same time, light spots appeared on his body. 12 sacred weapons were suspended around him. Swish. Lu Ming grasped the black dragon spear and thrust it at young noble Blood Prison. You want to kill me? You. Young Master Blood Prison roared and waved the blood flag. Blood light filled the sky as he fought with Lu Ming. Boom, boom, boom. The two of them exchanged a few moves in a row, and their energy was rampant. Lu Ming, even if you use your ultimate move, you'll only be on par with me. You want to kill me? Dream on. Young noble Blood Prison roared. Kill. Lu Ming suddenly shouted, and the divine sword secret art burst out. Two jet black sword lights burst out from his eyes and rushed into Prince Blood Prison's body. Soul attacks are useless against me. I have the spiritual deity's defense. Sir Blood Prison stopped mid-sentence and let out a pained howl. He felt waves of tearing pain coming from his soul. How can your soul be so powerful? Young noble Blood Prison roared. Lu Ming sneered and stepped into the void. A chaotic flipping sky seal appeared in his hand and he threw it at Prince Blood Prison. Boom. This chaotic flipping sky seal had about 60% of its full power, and its power was amazing. Prince Blood Prison waved the blood flag and attacked the chaotic flipping sky seal. However, Prince Blood Prison was hit by Lu Ming's divine sword secret art. His soul was in pain and his strength was somewhat reduced. After a violent collision, Prince Blood Prison retreated continuously. Bus. Another chaotic flipping sky seal appeared in Lu Ming's hand and suppressed Prince Blood Prison. When Lu Ming threw out the chaotic flipping sky seal, his palms emitted a terrifying fluctuation. One could see that a chaotic flipping sky seal had appeared in each of Lu Ming's palms. Two chaotic flipping sky seals appeared at once. One after another they pressed down on young Master Blood Prison. At the same time, Lu Ming also used the divine sword secret art to attack Prince Blood Prison. Boom, boom, boom. Prince Blood Prison used all his strength to resist, but after blocking 5 or 6 chaotic flipping sky seals, the blood light on his body kept trembling. His face was as pale as paper and blood kept flowing out of his mouth. Under the continuous attacks of the chaotic flipping sky seal and the divine sword secret art, Prince Blood Prison was seriously injured. Before the breakthrough of his soul power and the chaotic flipping sky seal, Lu Ming's main body could only fight Prince Blood Prison to a draw, even if he used all his strength. But now he could completely suppress Prince Blood Prison. Go! Prince Blood Prison was scared. After blasting away a chaotic flipping sky seal, he wanted to escape. However, an even larger flipping sky seal formed and suppressed him. At the same time, Lu Ming's glabella shone. His second body stepped out and a Tai Chi disc array appeared. A Tai Chi pattern appeared and suppressed Prince Blood Prison. How is this possible? Prince Blood Prison's pupils contracted sharply, and he struggled to resist. However, under the joint attack of the second body and the main body, he was powerless to resist. Boom. Under the joint attack of the Tai Chi pattern and the chaotic flipping sky seal, his body exploded and turned into a ball of blood light. Then the blood light wriggled and reformed into Prince Blood Prison's body. However, his current aura was much more dispirited than before. He was extremely weak. Bus. Above the second body's head, the Tai Chi pattern shone and turned into 2 yin-yang fish swords, slashing at Prince Blood Prison. Prince Blood Prison was terrified, and he frantically waved the blood flag to resist. The yin-yang fish swords turned into 2 sword lights, one black and one white. They cut through the void and slashed at the blood flag. The blood light of the blood flag was directly broken. The yin-yang fish swords slashed through the blood flag, and the power of the blood flag was almost destroyed. Kill! Lu Ming shouted. This time he performed the chaotic flipping sky seal with all his strength. A huge chaotic flipping sky seal formed to kill Prince Blood Prison. No, no! Prince Blood Prison screamed in horror. He was already severely injured and his aura was weak. Now that the blood flag was destroyed, and Lu Ming performed the chaotic flipping sky seal with all his strength, he had a feeling that he would be killed by this move. Lu Ming, you can't kill me. This is Darkwater City. You can't fight here. Senior, help me. Young Master Blood Prison roared like a madman, trying to get the local Saint Realm powerhouses of Darkwater City to intervene. Before he attacked, he was afraid that the local Saint Realm experts would intervene. Now he desperately hoped that the local Saint Realm experts would intervene. Unfortunately, he was disappointed. There was no movement at all. The local Saint Realm experts didn't seem to have any intention of intervening. This surprised many people around. In the past, if there was such a big commotion, the local Saint Realm experts would have intervened. But today there was no movement at all. Lu Ming said coldly. He raised his hands and the chaotic flipping sky seal exuded a terrifying aura, suppressing Prince Blood Prison. Whoosh. At this moment, a terrifying sword light pierced through the void behind Lu Ming. It crossed a long distance in an instant and stabbed at Lu Ming's back. Chapter 1633. An Assassin from Thousand Killers Manor. A thought appeared in Lu Ming's mind. Moreover, this was an extremely terrifying assassin. He was 10 times more terrifying than any of the Thousand Killers Manor's assassins that Lu Ming had encountered before. This was definitely a sky pride on the same level as young Master Blood Prison and Wan Tianqing. Moreover, he was an assassin. Any other genius on the same level as young Master Blood Prison would be dead for sure. There was no suspense in the fact that they would be killed by this sword. However, Lu Ming wasn't just any ordinary person. During this period of time, no matter where he was, he had always been on guard against Thousand Killers Manor's assassins. It was the same even in the middle of a war. Therefore, the moment the Thousand Killers Manor's assassin attacked, he sensed it. He didn't let Bubble take action because he was on guard against Thousand Killers Manor's assassins. Therefore, when the sword light pierced Lu Ming's body shattered like glass, and Lu Ming's body appeared more than 10 meters away. At the crucial moment, Bubble took action and used the space-time domain to teleport Lu Ming more than 10 meters away while the Primal Chaos Flipping Sky Seal continued to suppress him. Boom. The Primal Chaos Flipping Sky Seal struck young Master Blood Prison's body. His body instantly exploded and turned into a ball of bloody light. The bloody light wriggled, trying to escape, but the terrifying power of the Primal Chaos Flipping Sky Seal was constantly destroying young Master Blood Prison. No! Young Master Blood Prison let out an unwilling scream. Then, the ball of bloody light was completely obliterated and disappeared from the world. Young Master Blood Prison was dead. Whoosh. At this moment, another sword gleam pierced toward Lu Ming. Its speed was astonishingly fast and its power was shocking. However, Lu Ming was already on guard. Boom. Lu Ming punched out, bombarding the sword light. The sword light shook and a black-clothed man appeared. He borrowed the power of Lu Ming's punch to retreat rapidly. The second attack was blocked by Lu Ming. The assassin knew that the assassination had failed and wanted to retreat. Stay here. Lu Ming kicked the Black Dragon Spear. The Black Dragon Spear turned into a black lightning and shot towards the opponent. But Lu Ming used the Wind Thunder steps and took a step forward. He grabbed a nearby battle sword and slashed out. A 10,000-meter-long sword ray slashed towards the black-clothed man. Whoosh. Whoosh. The speed of the black-robed man was extremely fast. His figure constantly flashed, leaving behind a series of afterimages. First, he avoided the attack of the Black Dragon Spear. Then he slashed out a sword light, which collided with Lu Ming's sword light. However, at this moment, a transparent bubble suddenly appeared around the black-clothed man's body, enveloping him within. His body immediately stiffened. The second body controlled the yin-yang fish sword and slashed at the opponent. The black-clothed assassin's figure suddenly blurred. Then, a shocking sword light burst out and broke the transparent bubble. He wanted to escape, but he was still a step too late. The yin-yang fish sword's black sword slashed his body, almost cutting him in half. Blood splattered in the sky. The black-clothed assassin roared angrily. His body was shrouded in a layer of black fog. His speed suddenly increased and in a few flashes, he disappeared into the void. The Thousand Slayer Mansion's assassin's movement technique was too powerful. After failing to assassinate, he wanted to escape. Even Lu Ming could not stop him. All of this seemed to take a long time, but in fact, it happened in an instant. At this moment, many of the onlookers reacted and gasped. The Blood Prison Prince is dead. God, the Blood Prison Prince was killed by Lu Ming. He died at the hands of a rank 9 Martial Royal. Unbelievable. Lu Ming is Azura. He has become stronger again. Also, what is that body? Could it be a clone? But it doesn't look like it. Even the Thousand Slayer Mansion's assassin was injured and retreated. It's too terrifying. The scene was noisy. Many people were discussing excitedly and were shocked. They were shocked by Lu Ming's strength and Lu Ming's methods. In the drunken immortal inn, Prince Tianyin could no longer remain calm. He stood in the sky and looked into the distance. At this moment, his face was extremely gloomy. That blood prison is courting death. Huang Ling held a wine cup and walked to Prince Tianying's side. You already knew about Lu Ming's strength? Prince Tianying gritted his teeth. What do you think? Huang Ling smiled. Prince Tianying's face was as black as charcoal. Obviously, Huang Ling knew that the Blood Prison Prince was no match for Lu Ming. Hence, she acted very indifferent. Prince Tianying snorted coldly. He waved his sleeves and left. This Lu Ming is a top figure. The 10th Golden Crow Prince said calmly with his hands behind his back. He then left as well. Lu Ming, it seems like you have become stronger again. Huang Ling whispered. Her figure moved and she flew toward Phoenix Palace. Soon Huang Ling returned to Phoenix Palace. Lu Ming, are you alright? Huang Ling asked. I'm fine. Lu Ming shook his head. Huang Ling, it seems like there's a traitor in your Phoenix Palace. Previously, the Blood Prison Prince's men had been able to enter his room silently. This was definitely because someone from Phoenix Palace had received them. Otherwise, it would have been impossible. I will investigate this matter. Huang Ling's voice turned cold. Her icy gaze swept across the surrounding Phoenix Palace disciples. The expressions of the Phoenix Palace disciples changed drastically. Lu Ming, don't you think it's strange that the native Saint Realm experts of Darkwater City did not make a move this time? Huang Ling asked again. Indeed. Lu Ming nodded. He also felt that this was a little strange. The two discussed for a while but could not come to a conclusion. They could only guess that the native Saint Realm experts were not around. However, they had heard that there was more than one Saint Realm expert in Darkwater City. It could not be that all of them were not around. Since they could not figure it out, they did not think too much about it. Huang Ling arranged another residence for Lu Ming and Lu Ming moved in. The surrounding crowd also dispersed. The news of this battle quickly spread throughout Darkwater City. This battle had greatly increased Lu Ming's reputation. In many people's eyes, Lu Ming was more terrifying than Huang Ling since he was able to kill a genius like the Blood Prison Prince. They finally knew why Huang Ling and Lu Ming had the map and key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. It was because Lu Ming had the strength to do so. The crowd no longer dared to underestimate Lu Ming, who was a rank 9 Martial Royal. Of course, there was another matter that had a great impact. That was why the native Saint Realm experts did not make a move. This matter was very strange and there were many different opinions. However, over the next few days this topic became a hot topic. This was because there had been a few more battles in Darkwater City over the past few days. However, the native Saint Realm experts did not make a move. Many people guessed that the native Saint Realm experts did not care. In other words, they could make a move as they wished in the city. Chapter 1634. In the blink of an eye, 7 days had passed since Lu Ming killed the Blood Hell Prince. In these 7 days, someone finally stepped into Darkwater City with the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb and the key. Only the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb were left. At this time the atmosphere in Darkwater City became more solemn. This was because the geniuses of the other 3 cities had also heard about the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb and stepped into Darkwater City. Boom. On the 7th night, there was a shocking sound in Darkwater City. Someone was fighting. Figures rushed into the sky and looked into the distance. Lu Ming also rushed into the sky and watched from afar. Whoosh. Then Lu Ming saw a young man rush into the sky trying to escape. It's him. Lu Ming's heart stirred as he recognized this young man. This person was the genius who had the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. He was also a heavenly spiritual body expert who had comprehended the laws. Boom. A large yellow hand suddenly formed and grabbed at the young man. The young man used all his strength to break the hand. In the end, the large yellow hand broke, but the young man vomited blood and was severely injured. Give me the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb and I'll spare your life. A young man in a yellow robe appeared in the sky. His vast aura suppressed the surroundings. Jar of laws. Lu Ming could tell that this young man was a half-saint who had comprehended the laws. He was also a heavenly spiritual body, an expert on the same level as the Golden Crow 10th Prince and Yi Dongfeng. Don't even think about it. The young man roared and tried to break out. The young man in the yellow robe's eyes turned cold. With a wave of his hand, huge stone swords appeared in the sky and slashed at the young man. The difference between the 2nd stage and the 3rd stage of the half-saint realm was huge. The young man was no match for him. In a few moves, a stone sword pierced through his body and almost killed the spiritual deity. Don't kill me. I'll give you the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. In the end, the young man was afraid and handed over the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. The young man in the yellow robe took the key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb and harumphed coldly. He then stepped into the air and disappeared from Darkwater City. The young man in the yellow robe was unwilling, but there was nothing he could do. In this battle, the native Saint Realm powerhouses still hadn't made a move. Darkwater City is going to be in chaos. Many people sighed. The prodigies of the other 3 cities all came to Darkwater City, and the local Saint Realm experts of Darkwater City did not interfere. Everyone knew that Darkwater City was going to be in chaos. Everybody wanted to enter the Reincarnation Great Emperor's tomb. Everybody wanted the map of the Reincarnation Great Emperor's tomb. Everybody wanted the map and the key of the Reincarnation Great Emperor's tomb. For a time, Darkwater City was filled with undercurrents. Lu Ming and Huang Ling were also somewhat grave. Their residences were very close to each other. Moreover, the 2 of them had been in seclusion and had not gone anywhere. They were afraid that once the 2 of them separated, they would be attacked and robbed of the Reincarnation Monarch's tomb's map and key. On the second night, as expected, another great battle took place. A prodigy who had the map key of the Reincarnation Monarch's tomb wanted to leave Darkwater City under the cover of the night. He wanted to hide in the dark and only come out when all the keys were gathered. However, as soon as he left Darkwater City, he was surrounded by 3 other prodigies. In the end, he was severely injured and had no choice but to hand over the map and key. As a result, the atmosphere in Darkwater City became even more solemn. Other than the Golden Crow's 10th prince and Yi Dongfeng, they were not afraid of the other prodigies who had the map key of the Reincarnation Monarch's tomb. Their goal was to increase their strength. Otherwise, they would have nothing left if the map key was taken away. A few days later, the last set of map keys still had not appeared. On this day, 2 figures arrived at the Phoenix Palace. Lu Ming and Huang Ling appeared together. Zhao Kuang, Sima Liang, it's you two? What business do you have with my Phoenix Palace? Huang Ling asked. The 2 of them were Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang. Huang Ling, Lu Ming, the 2 of us are here to form an alliance. Zhao Kuang said. Darkwater City is currently filled with experts and prodigies. The stronger we are, the weaker we are. Why don't we form an alliance and head to the Reincarnation Monarch's tomb together? Sima Liang said. Oh, form an alliance? Do you have the map and key of the Reincarnation Monarch's tomb with you? Lu Ming asked. Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang were startled and said, Of course not. Since you don't have it, why are you forming an alliance with us? Get lost. Lu Ming waved his hand casually and said. The 2 of them had come up with a good idea. They had nothing and wanted to gain something without risking anything. How could it be that easy? Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang's faces darkened. Lu Ming, the other prodigies in Darkwater City who have the map and key of the Reincarnation Monarch's tomb are all looking for experts to form an alliance with to increase their strength. The 2 of us formed an alliance with you because we think highly of you. How dare you be so arrogant? Lu Ming, don't think that you can be lawless and look down on others just because you killed Wan Tiancheng and young Master Bloodjail. If 2 or even 3 people like young Master Bloodjail join forces, are you still their match? Sima Liang gritted his teeth and said. Lu Ming has already asked you to get lost. Why are you still here? Huang Ling reprimanded. Good, very good. Then I'll just watch as your map and key are taken away by others. Zhao Kuang flew into a rage. He left behind a few words unhappily and left with Sima Liang. Lu Ming and Huang Ling exchanged glances with each other. Both of them had a serious look in their eyes. Then they returned to their rooms and started cultivating. However, it was too difficult for Lu Ming's main body to increase his strength in a short period of time. It was almost impossible for him to reach the 6th level of the Primal Chaos Flipping Sky Seal in a short period of time. It was the same for his cultivation. Therefore, Lu Ming kept refining the Demon Fiend crystals to increase his soul power. In the blink of an eye, another 3 days had passed. Suddenly, Lu Ming's heart moved and a trace of joy appeared on his face. Then he entered the mountain river diagram. Ming Lian's second body sat cross-legged on a mountain peak. The Taiji disc floated above his head, sprinkling down rays of light. A golden spiritual flame flickered between the second body's eyebrows. Suddenly, the spiritual flame surged and several spiritual rings appeared around the second body. On the 9th golden spiritual ring there were 10 light spots. This meant that Ming Lian's second body had finally ignited the 10th spiritual lamp and reached perfection. This realm was equivalent to the first stage of the half-step Saint realm. The next step was to comprehend the laws. Great! Lu Ming was overjoyed. The improvement of his second body would undoubtedly increase his combat strength. It would be of great help to him at this crucial moment. Then, the spiritual rings disappeared and the second body started to consolidate its cultivation. Lu Ming's main body left the mountain river diagram and continued refining the demon fiend crystals. But not long after, Lu Ming suddenly opened his eyes and rushed out of the courtyard. Chapter 1635. Boom, 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 boom. A total of 4 terrifying auras shot up like smoke signals toward Phoenix Palace. Then 4 figures stepped into the air. Every step they took caused the sky to rumble. A huge pressure pressed down on Phoenix Palace. A figure flashed and Huang Ling appeared beside Lu Ming. Then the other disciples of Phoenix Palace rushed out. They are finally here. Huang Ling whispered with a serious expression. The sky prides from the other cities were finally going to attack them. 4 of them came at once. These 4 people were definitely terrifying sky prides. Each of them was at the same level as Prince Blood Prison and Wan Tianqing. Without such combat strength they would not dare to attack Lu Ming and Huang Ling. The 4 youths, 3 men and 1 woman, stood in a row in front of Huang Ling and Lu Ming. At this moment the entire Dark Water City was alarmed. Countless people rose into the air and looked over. How terrifying. The 4 experts are going to attack Lu Ming and Huang Ling. It's only a matter of time. The other Sky Prides are looking for experts to form an alliance. Lu Ming and Huang Ling are only 2 people. Naturally they will be targeted. 4 against 2. Lu Ming and Huang Ling are most likely in danger. They won't be able to keep the map and key. Voices echoed between the heavens and earth. Not far from Phoenix Palace, Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang were also watching. Humph, Lu Ming, aren't you very arrogant? This time, let's see how you can keep the map and key. Zhao Kuang sneered. It would be best if Lu Ming and Huang Ling were killed. Sima Liang said with a vicious face. Huang Ling, Lu Ming, hand over the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. A youth said in a very straightforward manner. If you want the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb, let's see if you have the ability to do so. Huang Ling said coldly. Huang Ling, although the vitality of your immortal heavenly phoenix body is strong, you don't stand a chance against the 2 of us. Lu Ming, I know that you killed young Master Blood Prison some time ago. However, if we join forces, are you still a match for us? I advise you not to make a mistake. A young man said coldly. Let's see if I'm a match for you. Lu Ming spoke in a domineering tone. Stubborn. Since that's the case, let's attack. A young man shouted and stepped forward to attack Huang Ling. At the same time, the only woman among the 4 also charged towards Huang Ling. The remaining 2 charged towards Lu Ming. 2 against 1. A phoenix cry rang out as the shadow of an immortal heavenly phoenix rushed out from Huang Ling's body. A pair of phoenix wings extended from her back as she bathed in immortal flames. The phoenix wings flapped out and like 2 divine swords, they slashed at the opponent and began a great battle. However, as soon as they exchanged blows, Huang Ling was at a disadvantage. Neither of the 2 opponents was weaker than her. She could only rely on her immortal heavenly phoenix physique to hold on. As for Lu Ming, he was also engaged in a fierce battle with his opponent. A huge cauldron came crashing down on Lu Ming. At the same time there was a terrifying flaming sword chi. When the 2 terrifying geniuses joined forces, their power was too strong. Lu Ming's glabella shone as Ming Lian's second body stepped out. A Tai Chi array floated above his head as a Tai Chi array appeared and pressed down on the young man who had slashed out the flaming sword chi. Boom. The flaming sword chi was dispersed. Ming Lian's second body waved his hand and a phoenix cry rang out as the phoenix feather flying swords flew out. This time, there were a total of 21 phoenix feather flying swords that formed a sword array. They turned into terrifying sword chi and charged towards the opponent. Back in the Tianfeng Plains, Lu Ming had obtained more than a dozen phoenix feathers. During this period of time, Ming Lian's second body had refined all of them into phoenix feather flying swords. A total of 21 phoenix feather flying swords formed a sword array that was extremely powerful. Divine Sword of the Great Sun. The opponent held a flaming sword and slashed out sword chi that was like the great sun. It slashed towards the second body and began a fierce battle with the second body. As for Lu Ming's main body, light spots lit up all over his body. He cast the 10,000 weapons art and sacred weapons appeared one by one. He held a spear in one hand and a sword in the other. He blasted the cauldron and sent it flying. 9 cauldrons suppressed the heavens. The person fighting Lu Ming was a black-robed youth. He had long hair and a mysterious aura. 9 cauldrons floated around him. Lu Ming could not help but think of the Divine Nine-Dragon Cauldron. The Divine Nine-Dragon Cauldron also had 9 cauldrons that suppressed the dragon vein. The black-robed youth controlled the 9 cauldrons to suppress Lu Ming. Kill? Lu Ming shouted as he used the divine sword art to attack his opponent. The black-robed youth's body trembled and his attacks slowed down. Lu Ming threw out the spear and sword in his hand. At the same time, he controlled the other sacred weapons to clash with the 9 cauldrons. Clang, clang. The 9 cauldrons were without a doubt sacred weapons. The 9 cauldrons worked together and their power was even more shocking. In the sky above Phoenix Palace, the sound of metal clashing could be heard. It was like a great bell. The other disciples of Phoenix Palace were unable to interfere at all. Ordinary prodigies would be injured or even killed by the overflowing force the moment they got close to it. Primal chaos. Lu Ming muttered. A primal chaos flipping sky seal appeared in each of his palms and he threw it at his opponent. The primal chaos flipping sky seal was as big as a mountain. It pressed down as if it wanted to crush everything. The black-robed youth's pupils contracted rapidly. He gathered a few cauldrons and attacked. Boom, boom. 2 dull explosions sounded. The opponent's cauldrons were sent flying and the black-robed youth was forced to retreat. At that moment, a pagoda appeared above Lu Ming's head. Bubbles was inside it. Bubbles helped the second body. Lu Ming's voice rang out. The pagoda flew toward the second body. Kill? Lu Ming roared as he used the divine sword art. 2 more flipping sky seals appeared in his palms and suppressed his opponent. The black-robed youth roared as his body emitted a strange light. The 9 cauldrons vibrated and knocked away many of Lu Ming's sacred weapons. The black-robed youth then fought against the flipping sky seals. Between the 2 of them, it was purely a battle of strength. There was no technique involved. The flipping sky seal and the 9 cauldrons collided continuously. They were like mountains bombarding each other in the air. The entire dark water city was shaking. Many of the weaker cultivators were forced to retreat. The sound waves from the collision were too strong. However, Lu Ming used the divine sword art. The black-robed youth was slowly losing to Lu Ming. He was suppressed by Lu Ming and had to retreat after every collision. After more than 10 moves, the black-robed youth had retreated more than 10 miles. 9 seals of the divine gate. Lu Ming suddenly formed a seal with his hands. 9 doors of the divine gate appeared in the sky. They shone brightly and were aimed at the opponent's cauldrons. Lu Ming had cultivated the 9 seals of the divine gate to the peak. He could form 9 doors of the divine gate at once. When the 9 doors of the divine gate were connected, the power of the seal was greatly enhanced. Chapter 1636. How could Lu Ming miss such an opportunity? With a wave of his hands, an incomparably large primal chaos cyclic seal formed and pressed down on the black-clothed youth. The black-clothed youth was shocked. With a roar, a shocking black light erupted from his body. He seemed to have turned into a large cauldron as he struck out with both hands at the primal chaos cyclic seal. Boom. The black-clothed youth's body was like a cannonball as he was sent flying. He coughed out large mouthfuls of blood in the air. His bones were like fried beans and it was unknown how many of them were broken. 9 cauldrons combine. The black-clothed youth roared, and the black light on his body became even denser. The 9 cauldrons that were sealed by the sealed door's aura surged. They broke through the sealed door's seal and flew towards the black-clothed youth. Then the 9 cauldrons combined into one. What tenacious vitality! Lu Ming muttered. This youth's combat strength was astonishing. It seemed like he had nurtured a large cauldron in the depths of his body. The power of law was also terrifying. His combat strength was even stronger than Prince Blood Prison's. Lu Ming was infamous for killing Prince Blood Prison and injuring the assassin from Thousand Killers Manor. So, this time the one who attacked Lu Ming was undoubtedly the strongest among the 4. The black-clothed youth merged the 9 cauldrons into one and charged into the cauldron. The aura of the cauldron became even more violent as it charged towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming grabbed the black dragon spear by the side and thrust it out. Clang. The black dragon spear stabbed into the cauldron, and the black dragon spear bent. Lu Ming was sent flying by a terrifying force. What a powerful force! Lu Ming's expression turned grave. The black-clothed youth clearly had a special physique that allowed him to fuse with the cauldrons. His entire body was like a cauldron, and the 9 cauldrons were like 9 saint weapons fused together. How powerful was that? Now that the black-clothed youth had fused with the cauldrons, there was nothing he couldn't break. Lu Ming let go of the black dragon spear, allowing the 12 saint weapons to float around him as a form of defense. Lu Ming's true yuan frantically poured into the flowing yuan gloves. At the same time, his third bloodline appeared, and a surge of power poured into Lu Ming's body. Although the Cloud Dragon Valley Master had warned Lu Ming to use the third bloodline as little as possible, Lu Ming should be fine if he used it once in a while and borrowed a small amount of power. The energy of the third bloodline surged into Lu Ming's body, making him even more powerful. There were dragon roars in his body. He cast the hell-suppressing heaven skill and threw a punch. Clang. When the fist landed on the cauldron, a terrifying shockwave burst out. The sound wave spread out at a speed visible to the naked eye. Wong. The cauldron trembled as it was sent flying by Lu Ming's attack. However, Lu Ming's body also retreated. Again, Lu Ming stepped forward and threw out another punch. The cauldron trembled and continued to charge towards Lu Ming. Clang, clang, clang. Following that, the two of them continued to clash, exchanging dozens of blows. At this moment, Ming Lian's second body and Bubbles cooperated to suppress the opponent. Ming Lian's second body used the Yin-Yang Fish Sword as the main force, using the Yin-Yang Fish Sword as the main force. At the same time, various formations and Phoenix Feather Flying Swords were also very mysterious. With the help of Bubbles' space-time domain, although the opponent was strong, he was restrained in the battle and was completely suppressed by Ming Lian's second body. Whoosh! The Yin-Yang Fish Sword slashed, almost cutting the opponent in half, leaving a deep wound with blood flowing out. How can that Lu Ming be so strong? Damn it! Zhao Kuang, who was watching the battle from afar, roared. Even Xia Ding can't do anything to him. Sima Liang said in disbelief. Xia Ding was the black-clothed youth who controlled the 9 cauldrons. Lu Ming's combat strength was beyond his imagination. A person could actually split into 2 and each of them had terrifying combat strength. Xia Ding was an extremely terrifying genius at their level. None of them were a match for Xia Ding. However, Lu Ming alone could fight against Xia Ding while the other Lu Ming could suppress his opponent. Luckily, Huang Ling is about to be defeated. As long as Huang Ling is defeated, the two of them will join forces to fight against Lu Ming. No matter how strong he is, he will be defeated. Sima Liang continued. At this moment, Huang Ling was indeed in danger. She seemed to have turned into a flaming phoenix. Flames filled the sky as she unleashed her strength to the extreme. However, she was no match for the two opponents at the same level. There were many injuries on her body. If she didn't have the immortal heavenly phoenix body, she would have been severely injured. Even so, she would be defeated if this continued. I have the immortal heavenly phoenix body, one of the top 10 combat beasts. How can I be defeated? Huang Ling roared like a phoenix. Her eyes were filled with madness and the flames on her body became even more terrifying as she fought against her opponent. Bang! Her body was penetrated and a big hole appeared. However, she didn't care. Her immortal flames spread and the big hole healed automatically. She was in a frenzy, ignoring her injuries and defense. She only cared about attacking. At this moment, Ming Lian's second body chased after her. Together with Bubble, they unleashed a terrifying cultivation technique. Whoosh! Her opponent's chest was penetrated by the Yin-Yang Fish Sword. The terrifying destructive force kept destroying her opponent's spiritual body. She coughed out blood. Come and help me, she shouted. Hold on a little longer. One of the geniuses who was fighting against Huang Ling said. They wanted to defeat Huang Ling in one fell swoop and then deal with Lu Ming. However, Huang Ling's immortal heavenly phoenix body was not just for show. They couldn't take her down in a short time. Damn it. The geniuses who were injured by the second body did not dare to continue fighting and retreated frantically. The 4 of them were originally from different forces. They decided to join forces to fight for the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. However, his life was in danger now. How could he fight to the death? Whoosh! He retreated for a while and retreated. Damn it! The other geniuses roared. Kill! Ming Lian's second body rushed towards Huang Ling's battlefield. The Yin-Yang Fish Sword slashed at one of the beauties. The pressure on Huang Ling was greatly reduced. She launched a violent attack on one of the geniuses. For a moment, her opponent was at a disadvantage. At this moment, Lu Ming's main body had already exchanged dozens of blows with Xia Ding. Clang! Another earth-shattering explosion was heard. The big cauldron shook violently and retreated frantically. Then Xia Ding's figure fell out of it. He obviously had to pay a great price to use this move. Now he couldn't hold on any longer. Forget it. Let's go. Xia Ding roared and retreated with the big cauldron, disappearing in the blink of an eye. When the remaining 2 geniuses saw this, they knew that they had lost the advantage. After paying a price, they also rushed out and disappeared. The four geniuses were defeated by Lu Ming and Huang Ling. Chapter 1637. Lu Ming and Huang Ling were able to defeat four supreme geniuses. Such combat strength was extremely terrifying. As for Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang, they were dumbfounded. Xia Ding and the other three had come aggressively but were defeated by Lu Ming and Huang Ling in the end. This was something that they had never dreamt of. They were all inferior heaven spiritual bodies. How could there be such a huge difference in combat strength? Oh no! At this moment, Lu Ming's face changed. Boom! High up in the sky, a huge claw grabbed at Huang Ling. The claw was covered with scales and was extremely ferocious. It emitted a terrifying fluctuation. Ming Lian's second body was the closest to Huang Ling. He immediately controlled the Tai Chi array and the two yin-yang fish swords slashed at the huge claw. Clang! Clang! The yin-yang fish swords slashed at the claw and sparks flew in all directions. In the pagoda, bubble attacked. The void fluctuated and formed a terrifying space blade that slashed at the claw. Huang Ling also attacked. Flames filled the sky and a flaming phoenix flew out and flew towards the claw. Boom! Boom! The space blade collapsed and the flaming phoenix was destroyed. Huang Ling's body retreated continuously and a stream of blood flowed out of her mouth. Chaotic Sky Seal. At this moment, Lu Ming's main body also attacked. He condensed a huge chaotic sky seal and blasted it at the huge claw. Boom! The chaotic sky seal blasted the claw and was directly shattered. However, the claw was finally blocked. It rapidly shrank and retracted from the sky. So powerful. Lu Ming's eyes were extremely solemn. Someone has attacked again. Who is it? Lu Ming and Huang Ling had just fought a big battle. Why is he attacking now? Many people around were shocked and looked up at the sky. Brr. There was a loud roar and the wind and clouds changed. In the sky, a huge monster slowly appeared. Many people's pupils constricted. Ta-ta. Lu Ming slowly spat out two words. The huge monster that appeared in the sky was a Tao Tai. The Tao Tai was also a type of divine beast that was incomparably powerful. According to legends in ancient times, the Tao Tai could swallow the sun and moon in the sky when it opened its mouth. It was truly terrifying. Tao Tai's eyes were like two small suns as he stared at Lu Ming and Huang Ling. He said in a cold and harsh voice, "Hand over the map and key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb and I will spare your lives." It was obvious that Tao Tai's goal was the same as Xia Ding and the others. They were after the map and key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. Does the Tao Tai clan only know how to take advantage of the situation? Huang Ling said coldly. Nonsense. If you don't hand it over, then die. The Tao Tai said coldly. He stepped into the void, causing the sky to rumble. Huang Ling's undying flame burned fiercely. She stared at the Tao Tai resolutely. Her meaning was clear. Lu Ming's main body and second body stood together, staring at Tao Tai. Kill? The Tao Tai roared and leaped toward Lu Ming and Huang Ling. He stretched out his claws and there was a terrible whistling sound between heaven and earth. He grabbed toward Lu Ming and the others. The Tai Chi array disc above Ming Lian's second body shone brightly and a Tai Chi diagram suppressed the Tao Tai. Bam! The Tao Ya's claw grabbed the Tai Chi diagram and the Tai Chi diagram was sent flying. Swoosh! Lu Ming used the 10,000 soldiers art. He held the black dragon spear in his hand and stabbed it toward the Tao Ya's vital point. However, the Tao Ya's other claw hit the long spear. Lu Ming felt an extremely powerful force surging toward him and his body was sent flying. His chi and blood surged and he almost spat out a mouthful of blood. What terrifying strength! Lu Ming was shocked. His spear pierced the Tao Ya's claw, but it only left a shallow mark on the surface. It did not even pierce through the scales. The Tao Tai was definitely an expert on the same level as the Golden Crow's 10th prince. Its physique was equivalent to an inferior heavenly spiritual body and its cultivation had reached the third stage of the sage to be realm, the vessel of the laws. The heavenly spiritual body was already terrifying. Coupled with the vessel of the laws, its physical body was even stronger. Even Lu Ming's 10,000 soldiers art could not break it. A phoenix cry was heard and Huang Ling attacked but it was useless. She was sent flying by the Tao Ya's palm. 9 seals of the divine gate. Lu Ming roared and quickly formed seals with his hands. 9 doors of seals were formed and pressed toward the Tao Tai. He wanted to seal the Tao Tai. At the same time, Bubble attacked and used the space-time domain to seal the Tao Tai. Buzz. The Tai Chi array disc above the second body vibrated again and the Tai Chi yin-yang fish pattern appeared again. However, this time, it turned into the yin-yang fish sword. Two terrifying sword lights, one black and one white, slashed toward the Taotai. Brr. The Taotai let out a shocking roar. Its body glowed and its two claws bombarded the doors of seals. Bam, bam, bam. The 9 doors of seals shook violently and then shattered one by one. Then 2 terrifying beams of light shot out from the Taoya's eyes and broke free from Bubble's space-time domain. However, the Tai Chi yin-yang fish sword had already arrived. Clang, clang. The yin-yang fish sword slashed the Taoya's body. Sparks flew and an ear-piercing sound was heard. However, in the end, it broke through the scales on the Taoya's body and left 2 deep sword marks on it. Boom. A huge chaotic cyclic seal appeared above the Taoya's head and pressed down on the Taotai. Ah, die, die. All of you die. The Taotai was injured by the yin-yang fish sword and was completely enraged. The laws surrounded his body and he rushed into the sky and bombarded the chaotic cyclic seal. Boom. The primal chaos flipping sky seal let out a terrifying vibration. Then, it cracked open and finally collapsed. With a cry, Huang Ling attacked. A battle sword condensed from the undying flames slashed at the Taoya's wound. Immediately, it burned fiercely and emitted the fragrance of barbecued meat. The undying flame could prevent one from dying when used on oneself. However, when used on others, it could kill them. Damn it, kill. The Taotai roared furiously and opened his mouth. Suddenly, a terrifying devouring force erupted and enveloped Lu Ming's main body, second body, and Huang Ling. He wanted to swallow them into his mouth and refine them. I know the devouring force too. Lu Ming roared and clenched his fist. The devouring force erupted and offset the devouring force of the Taotai. The devouring force of the 9 dragons. The Taotai roared. However, although Lu Ming had offset the devouring force and stopped his main body and second body, Huang Ling could not. She flew directly into the Taoya's mouth. In an instant she was close to the Taotai. Die for me. The Taotai roared and then spat out a beam of light from his mouth that enveloped Huang Ling. Huang Ling roared and attacked continuously. She wanted to rush out of the beam of light but she could not do so. The beam of light had a terrifying destructive refining force and it was refining Huang Ling continuously. Swoosh, swoosh. Lu Ming's main body and second body moved at the same time. They charged toward the Taotai and wanted to save Huang Ling. Chapter 1638. This Taotai was too strong and he had chosen the right time to attack. He had chosen to attack when Lu Ming and Huang Ling had just fought with Xia Ding and the other 3 experts and were exhausted. At this time, Lu Ming and Huang Ling were not in their best condition. Extinguish Huang Ling. Even if you have the immortal flame, I will extinguish and refine you. Taotai's voice rang out and the light beam in his mouth became stronger. Phoenix cries were constantly heard from the light beam. Huang Ling's immortal flame was being refined continuously. Chaos. Lu Ming roared and exerted all his strength. A huge chaotic flipping sky seal was formed and pressed down on Taotai. At the same time, his second body controlled the Tai Chi array disc with all his strength. 2 more yin-yang fish swords appeared and slashed at Taotai. Taotai shot out 2 more light beams from his eyes and bombarded the yin-yang fish swords, blocking them. However, he could not resist the chaotic flipping sky seal and it smashed heavily on Taotai's body. The Taotai let out a muffled groan as his body shook. He had actually managed to withstand the primal chaos flipping sky seal. However, it was clear that the Taotai wasn't feeling any better. A part of his back had caved in. That piece of bone had been shattered by the primal chaos flipping sky seal. Now the 2 wounds caused by the yin-yang fish swords were spurting out blood. Roar. Damn it. You deserve to die. When I refine Huang Ling, it will be your death. Taotai roared angrily. Today he had been injured by Lu Ming again and again. Although the injuries were not fatal, it was a great insult to him. He was a stage 3 half-saint, but he had been injured by Lu Ming again and again. It was unforgivable. Taotai's physical body is really abnormal. Lu Ming felt helpless. If a stage 2 half-saint expert was hit by Lu Ming's chaotic flipping sky seal, he would probably be smashed to death directly. However, Taotai was only slightly injured. At this time, Huang Ling's immortal flame was getting weaker and weaker, as if it would be refined at any time. What should I do? Lu Ming's brows were tightly knitted together. After the continuous battles, he did not have much true yuan left in his body. It would be difficult for him to use the primal chaos flipping sky seal again. Even if he did, the primal chaos flipping sky seal might not work. Lu Ming became a little anxious. His cultivation was still too weak, only at the 9th layer martial dominator realm. If his cultivation could reach the first stage of the half-saint realm and comprehend the ultimate chaotic realm, his power would definitely skyrocket. At that time, his chaotic sky-flipping seal would at least be able to severely injure the Taotai. However, his current cultivation was only at the peak of the 9th level of the martial royal realm. It was impossible for him to reach the half-saint level in such a short time. There was a huge barrier between the 9th layer of the martial royal realm and the half-saint realm. It was not easy to break through. Haha, Lu Ming and Huang Ling are finally going to be defeated and killed by Tao Tai. Not far away, Zhao Kuang laughed crazily. Seeing that Lu Ming and Huang Ling were about to be defeated, he felt extremely happy. It is impossible for them to be a match for Tao Tai. The outcome is already decided. Sima Liang coldly said. The surrounding people shook their heads and sighed. Tao Tai was a genius on the same level as the Golden Crow's 10th prince. Among the geniuses who had entered the 100-tribe battlefield, Tao Tai was almost at the top. Huang Ling and Lu Ming did not stand a chance. Moreover, they had just fought a fierce battle and were no match for Tao Tai. Chirp. At that moment, the cry of a phoenix resounded through the heavens and earth. Huang Ling, who was already extremely weak, suddenly exuded a strong aura and the undying flame burned fiercely. Huang Ling had almost turned into an undying phoenix. She spread her wings and rushed out of Tao Tai's light beam. Her wings were like knives and slashed at Tao Tai. Tao Tai roared and slashed out with his claws. Boom. Boom. Two loud explosions were heard as Huang Ling and Tao Tai's figures were knocked back. You have broken through the vessel of the law. Tao Tai roared. Kill? Huang Ling roared. She spread her wings and charged at Tao Tai. I would like to see how powerful the undying flame is. Tao Tai roared and charged at Huang Ling. Boom. Boom. It was as if a phoenix and Tao Tai were fighting fiercely in the sky. It was hard to tell who would emerge victorious. She has broken through. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. At the crucial moment, at the critical juncture of life and death, Huang Ling had broken through her limits and reached the 3rd stage of the sage-to-be vessel of the law. After reaching the 3rd stage, Huang Ling's combat strength had increased tremendously. She stood at the same level as Tao Tai and did not fear Tao Tai. As expected of the undying heavenly phoenix body, one of the top 10 battle beasts, Lu Ming exclaimed. He realized that Huang Ling had the same characteristics as him. In times of danger, it was easier for her to stimulate her potential and break through her limits. Damn it! How could this be? Damn it! Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang were very happy a moment ago. Now their faces were extremely gloomy. The battle between Huang Ling and Tao Tai was extremely intense. Lu Ming did not intervene. In the blink of an eye, the two sides had exchanged more than 100 moves, but the outcome was still undecided. Huang Ling, I will spare you this time. We will fight another day. In the end, Tao Tai turned around and left after uttering these words. He knew that since Huang Ling had broken through, it was no longer possible for him to snatch the map key from Huang Ling and Lu Ming. He could only retreat. Huang Ling did not chase after him. She was not confident that she could kill Tao Tai. If the battle continued, both sides would suffer great losses and the others would benefit from it. The undying flames were extinguished and Huang Ling returned to her original appearance. Why are you still here? Huang Ling glanced at the surroundings, especially at Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang. Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang were startled. They immediately turned around and left. The others did the same. Now that Huang Ling had broken through and reached the 3rd stage of the sage-to-be realm, it was not too difficult for her to kill ordinary geniuses. In the blink of an eye, the crowd dispersed. Huang Ling, congratulations on your breakthrough. Lu Ming walked toward Huang Ling and said with a smile. Huang Ling's breakthrough had made him feel more relaxed. Now that Huang Ling had broken through, in addition to the strength that he had displayed today, he believed that no one would dare to target them in the future. Lu Ming, I have to thank you. If it weren't for you restraining Tao Tai, I might not have had the chance to break through. Huang Ling said. Previously, Lu Ming had attacked Tao Tai consecutively, injuring it. This had distracted Tao Tai. Otherwise, if Tao Tai had gone all out to refine her, she would have been refined before she could break through. If one wanted to stimulate one's potential and break through one's limits in a crisis, it was usually accompanied by danger. If one was not careful, one would die. Then Huang Ling ordered the people of Phoenix Palace to clean up the place. After all, Phoenix Palace was in a mess after the battle. Lu Ming and Huang Ling returned to their rooms. Huang Ling had just broken through and needed to consolidate her cultivation. Lu Ming needed to recover. After this battle, Lu Ming and Huang Ling became famous. As expected, no one dared to target them. However, the battle in Darkwater City became even more intense. Chapter 1639. In Darkwater City, the various outstanding talents formed alliances, forming factions centered around the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb's map and key. After more than 10 days, the situation slowly calmed down. At this moment, the Golden Crow 10th Prince sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming and Huang Ling, saying that the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb's key and map had been gathered. He invited them to the Golden Crow Hall to merge with the map and head to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. Are they finally gathered? Lu Ming ended his cultivation, and a sharp light flashed in his eyes. He flew to the Golden Crow Hall with Huang Ling. Those who control the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb's key and map are all gathered at the Golden Crow Hall. Could it be that they have gathered the map? Let's go and take a look. Many people in Darkwater City flew to the Golden Crow Hall. Soon Lu Ming and Huang Ling arrived at the Golden Crow Hall. This time they did not meet at the plaza. When Lu Ming and Huang Ling arrived, the Golden Crow tribe's people welcomed them to a courtyard inside the Golden Crow Hall. Those outstanding talents who did not have the map and key could only wait outside the Golden Crow Hall. When Lu Ming and Huang Ling arrived, they discovered that many people were already there. Wild Thunder Yi Dongfang stood alone with his hands behind his back. There was also a yellow rogue youth. This person had snatched the map and key from another person. He was also an outstanding talent on par with the Golden Crow 10th Prince and Yi Dongfang. There were also a few people with unfathomable auras. They were also outstanding talents on par with the Golden Crow 10th Prince. Xiaochen had not seen them before. Clearly they came from other cities. There were also a few groups of people with larger numbers. The smaller groups had 4 or 5 people while the larger groups had 7 or 8 people. Lu Ming even saw Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang in this group. These people had weaker cultivations on par with the Blood Prison Prince. Hence, most of them formed alliances. 5 or 6 people worked together to control the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb's key and map. Following that, a few more groups of people arrived. Each group had more than 4 or 5 people. One group had 7 people. Lu Ming recognized a few of them. They were Xia Ding and the other 3 who wanted to snatch Lu Ming and Huang Ling. Xia Ding and the other 3 looked at Lu Ming and Huang Ling with fear in their eyes. As for the other group of people, there were also 6 people. One of them wore black scale armor, and his cold gaze was fixed on Lu Ming. Killing intent constantly flashed in his eyes. Tao Tai. Lu Ming moved. Through his aura, Lu Ming could tell at a glance that this scaled youth was Tao Tai. It seemed that the Tao Tai had also found a group of people to cooperate with and planned to enter the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb together. Alright, the people with the 10 sets of keys and the map of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb are all here. But before we gather the maps, I want to emphasize one point. Those who have the map and the keys can bring whoever they want with them. But now we have to confirm the candidates. When we depart later, we can't add more people. Brother Yi, Brother Shi, Saintess Huang Ling, do you have any objections? The 10th Prince of the Golden Crow said. However, he was looking at Yi Dongfang, Huang Ling, the yellow-robed young man, the Tao Tai, and the others who were at the same level as him. Let's do it. I have no objections. Yi Dongfang, the yellow-robed young man, and the others all nodded. The others didn't say anything either. Those who were supposed to depart with them were all here. This group of people were the top prodigies. Each of them was a heavenly spiritual body. As for those with earthly spiritual bodies, they wouldn't be of much use to them. Even if those with earthly spiritual bodies reached the 3rd stage of the half-saint realm, they would probably not be a match for anyone present. Alright, since that's the case, take out the maps now. The 10th Prince of the Golden Crow said. Then he took out 2 jade talismans and infused them with true essence. The jade talismans glowed and 2 maps floated in the air. Then the others took out jade talismans and infused their true essence. Lu Ming did the same. The maps floated in the air and pieced together. There were a total of 10 regions pieced together to form a complete map. At this moment, the map emitted a resplendent light. A spot of light appeared on the map. It was incomparably bright. That's where the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb is. Many people's eyes lit up as they hurriedly memorized the map. This is the northern part of the 100-tribe battlefield, where the Undying Mountain is. Yi Dongfang said. I didn't expect it to be there. Let's go. The 10th Prince of the Golden Crow said. Then they put away their jade talismans and soared into the air, flying north. They've come out. They must know the location of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. There was a large number of people waiting outside the Golden Crow Hall. When they saw Lu Ming and the others come out, there was an uproar. Let's go. Follow them. Maybe we can enter the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb and obtain opportunities. Yes, follow them. A large group of people soared into the air and followed behind Lu Ming and the others. Those without the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb key and map, scram. Otherwise die. The 10th Prince of the Golden Crow's eyes emitted a resplendent golden light as he scanned the surroundings. At the same time, Yi Dongfang, Tao Tai, and the others also scanned the surroundings with unfriendly gazes. You're too domineering. It's our freedom to go wherever we want. Are you going to interfere with where we want to go? Yes, you go your way and we go ours. We have nothing to do with each other. Someone among those people shouted. How stubborn. Die. The 10th Prince of the Golden Crow suddenly shouted. His body emitted a terrifying sun flame as he turned into a ray of golden light and charged out. Poof, poof, poof. The 10th Prince of the Golden Crow's claws turned into the claws of the Golden Crow. Claw shadows filled the sky and no one could withstand this attack. Those who were hit by the claw shadows would be engulfed in golden flames and turned into ashes in the blink of an eye. In the blink of an eye, more than a dozen youths were killed and their bodies and souls were destroyed. The rest of the people turned pale with fright and frantically retreated. They looked at the 10th Prince of the Golden Crow with fear in their eyes. If you follow me again, I'll kill you. The 10th Prince of the Golden Crow said coldly. This time no one dared to follow him. Although there were many people, their combat strength was too weak compared to the 10th Prince of the Golden Crow. Once they attacked, they would be slaughtered. Moreover, there were more experts who had not attacked yet. Once they attacked, they would really be slaughtered. Although they were unwilling, they could only watch as Lu Ming and the others left. They were not strong enough. In the martial world, the weak were prey to the strong. Without strength, they could not take the opportunity even if it was placed in front of them. Lu Ming and the others headed north. According to the instructions on the map, they flew for 2 days and arrived at a dead land. It was a wasteland. As far as the eye could see, the wasteland was covered with white bones. However, these white bones were weathered and did not have any spirituality. The entire wasteland was filled with a faint aura of death. Obviously, this place was a battlefield a long time ago. There was a majestic mountain in front of the wasteland. It was particularly eye-catching in the flat wasteland. Chapter 1640. Swoosh, swoosh. They flew toward the mountain. Swoosh. Suddenly, a saber light tore through the air and slashed toward one of the geniuses. Boom. That genius struck out with his palm and destroyed the saber light. But in the next moment, the ground of the dead silent wilderness exploded. Many figures rushed out from the ground and stood in front of them. There were all kinds of figures. Some were in the shape of demonic beasts and some were in the shape of humans. Some of them were in the shape of humans. They wore armor and held swords and sabers in their hands. But they had one thing in common. They exuded a strong death chi. It's the undead tribe. Someone shouted. Kill these humans. An undead wearing battle armor and holding a battle sword, like a black warrior, waved his battle sword and gave the order. Brr. Kill. A large number of undead tribe members rushed toward Lu Ming and the others. There were at least 1,000 of them and they were all LV7 Martial Royal Realm and above. All kinds of attacks rushed toward Lu Ming and the others. Kill. The 10th Golden Crow Prince turned into a 3-legged golden crow. The flames of the sun burned fiercely. When he rushed past, more than 10 undead tribe members were burned to ashes in the flames. Wild thunder Yi Dongfang clenched his fist and lightning filled the sky. Every time the lightning swept past, an undead tribe member would be killed. Tao Tai turned into his true form and roared. A destructive light shot out from his mouth and destroyed a large number of undead tribe members. The attacks of such a genius were earth-shattering and shocking. Large numbers of undead tribe members were destroyed. At the same time, the others attacked as well. All kinds of attacking techniques were used to kill the undead clan members. But there were too many undead tribe members. More undead tribe members rushed out from the ground. And they were getting stronger. Brr. A huge white skeleton in the shape of a tiger let out a loud roar, causing the space to tremble as it pounced toward the 10th Golden Crow Prince. The white-bone tiger exuded the aura of the 3rd stage of the half-saint realm, the Jar of Laws. It was extremely powerful. But it was still defeated by the 10th Golden Crow Prince in one move. At the same level, a heavenly spiritual body could easily kill those who were not. Under the ground, the undead clan kept rushing out. Many of them were at the half-saint realm, but it was still difficult to stop them. They kept pushing toward the majestic mountain. Lu Ming punched out continuously with his fists. The power of his fists crossed the void and killed 2 undeads of the second stage of the half-saint realm. Boom. At this moment, a terrifying aura suddenly erupted from the ground. A figure wearing ancient battle armor and holding a spear appeared in the air. Saint Realm Undead Clan. Many people's expressions changed. This undead was wearing ancient armor and holding a long spear. He was a Saint Realm Undead, and his body radiated with terrifying saintly might. So what if you're in the Saint Realm? I'll still kill him. The Golden Crow 10th Prince spoke in an extremely domineering manner. With their combat strength, they were not afraid of ordinary Saint Realm experts. However, the Saint Realm Undead didn't attack. Instead, he glanced coldly at Lu Ming and the others and said in a dry voice, "Retreat." Then, the frenzied undead retreated like the tide, sinking into the ground and disappearing. His Saint Realm Undead also sank into the ground and disappeared. He retreated? Someone was stunned. A Saint Realm expert will only be killed if he doesn't retreat. Of course he has to retreat. The 10th Golden Crow Prince said confidently. Everyone continued to move forward. Then, as expected, no one stopped them. They arrived in front of the mountain. The mountain was dark and surrounded by death chi. Not a single blade of grass grew on it. Is this the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb? I've been here before, but I didn't find anything unusual. Yi Dongfang frowned. This mountain looked like an ordinary mountain. There was nothing unusual about it and there was no entrance to it either. Then, everyone flew around the mountain but didn't find any entrance. Everyone frowned. Was the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb fake? Let's take a look at the key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. What do you think? Someone suggested. Okay. The others nodded and took out the key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. Buzz. When everyone took out the keys, a shocking scene appeared. The 10 keys vibrated and emitted a bright light. They flew out of everyone's hands and continued to fly toward the mountain. Then they floated at the top of the mountain and rapidly grew in size. Each key was 10,000 feet tall. Then the 10 keys merged and turned into a heaven-piercing halberd. Boom. The heaven-piercing halberd struck the mountain. Rumble. The halberd struck and the majestic mountain split into 2. A deep canyon appeared in the middle. It looked like a passageway. The halberd flew into the depths of the canyon and disappeared. Is this the passageway to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb? Some people's eyes lit up. It must be. Haha, the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb has finally appeared. Someone laughed loudly. However, in the next moment the scene suddenly fell silent. Everyone's bodies flashed and they distanced themselves from the others. They were wary. Now that the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb had appeared, they would become competitors. Naturally, they had to be wary of each other. Hee hee. The 10th Golden Crow Prince sneered. He stepped into the air and flew towards the valley. Let's go. The others hurriedly flew toward the canyon as well. However, when they reached the canyon, their eyes narrowed. The majestic mountain had been split into 2. Logically speaking, the other side of the canyon should be the other side of the mountain. However, that was not the case. In the depths of the canyon, there was a passageway that directly passed through space and led to an unknown place. When everyone arrived at the entrance of the passageway, the 10th Golden Crow Prince was the first to step into the passageway. When he stepped into the passageway, his expression changed slightly and he continued to move forward. The others also entered the passageway. What a heavy pressure. There's a no-fly zone here. It's difficult to fly. As soon as they entered the passageway, someone said solemnly. Lu Ming and Huang Ling also stepped into the passageway. Immediately they felt a strong pressure on their bodies. The pressure was as heavy as a mountain. It was impossible to fly there. They could only move forward step by step. Everyone was wary of each other and moved forward step by step. They seemed to have stepped into a space passageway. There was a vast expanse of whiteness around them. They did not know where they were. They moved forward step by step. However, half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours had passed. They were still in the passageway. There seemed to be no end to the passageway. Why is it so long? When will we reach the end? Is the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb really in front? No matter what, I must reach the end. Chapter 1641. Time passed slowly. 1 hour after another passed. They had walked for a full day but they were still in the tunnel. It was as if the tunnel had no end. However, no one would give up at this point. Everyone continued to move forward. Soon 10 days had passed. They were still moving forward in the tunnel. At this point, many people frowned. No matter how patient they were, they could not help but feel anxious. Was this tunnel really leading to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb? However, since they had come this far, they could no longer retreat. They could only continue to move forward. Soon another 5 days had passed. We can see the end. Suddenly, someone shouted excitedly. The tunnel was finally coming to an end. From afar, it seemed to be a dark place. Everyone let out a long breath. They had walked for half a month in an empty tunnel. Most importantly, they did not know how long it would take. It was really a test of their patience. Fortunately, they were all peerless geniuses. Moreover, they dared to come to the 100-tribe battlefield to train. They were outstanding in all aspects. Naturally, they did not lack patience. That was why they could persevere until now. Let's go. Immediately, everyone became spirited and began to speed up. They rushed forward, afraid that they would be slower than others and the opportunity would be taken away by others. Lu Ming and Huang Ling also sped up. Soon they rushed out of the tunnel and stepped into a dark place. As soon as they rushed out of the tunnel, their bodies felt lighter. The pressure disappeared and they regained the ability to fly. However, after everyone rushed out of the tunnel, they stood in the air and looked in front of them in shock. Tombs. All they saw were tombs. They were densely packed and there were countless of them. At a glance, there was no end to them. These tombs were of different sizes. Some were just mounds while others were as big as mountains. How can this be? Why are there so many tombs? Isn't this the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb? Someone asked in confusion. There were so many tombs. Could it be that the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb was among them and they had to search for it one by one? Those tombs might have buried important people and there might be treasures inside. Someone said in a low voice, causing everyone's eyes to light up. That's right. Those who could be buried here must have a powerful background. They might even have treasures. With so many tombs here, wouldn't they be rich? Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Immediately they moved. Figures rushed out one after another, rushing towards those tombs. They were searching for a target. Each of them found a grave and rushed over. Be careful. Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Huang Ling. He had a feeling that things were not that simple. The two of them carefully flew forward and entered the area of the tomb. However, when they approached the tombs closest to them began to shine. Then one figure after another emerged from the tombs. Kill. Kill. There were men and women, old and young, and many of them weren't even humans. But they all roared and charged at Lu Ming's group. Their terrifying power was shocking. One of the geniuses was careless and a spear light pierced through his body. If he hadn't hurriedly retreated, he would have died. Whoosh. A terrifying sword light pierced towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming punched out and collided with the sword light. With a clang, the sword light was sent flying. Lu Ming felt his fist go numb. What a terrifying attack. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. Kill, kill, kill. The figures that emerged from the tombs constantly roared and charged at them. These figures didn't have physical bodies. They looked like phantoms. The 10th Golden Crow Prince was attacked by a giant bull. He reverted to his original form and fought with the giant bull. His combat strength was shocking and he tore the giant bull into pieces. But surprisingly, the giant bull didn't die. It reformed and attacked the 10th Golden Crow Prince. The others also encountered the same situation. Even if they managed to defeat the phantoms would recondense and reappear. Whoosh, whoosh. The one that attacked Lu Ming was a human figure. It looked like an old man. Sword light constantly bloomed and shrouded Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming used the 10,000 weapon art. With the black dragon spear in his hand, he stabbed out spear light that collided with the sword light. After exchanging dozens of blows, Lu Ming shattered the figure with one blow of his spear. However, the figure condensed again immediately. These are formed by the immortal battle intent of the experts after they died. There must be peerless experts buried under these tombs. Someone said. Let me break it open. Zhao Kuang roared and repelled the figure that attacked him. Then he attacked a tomb on the side. Boom. The terrifying attack landed on the great tomb, but it didn't budge at all. It wasn't damaged at all. But at this moment, a shocking scene appeared. Above the tomb, rays of light appeared and directly entangled Zhao Kuang. Zhao Kuang struggled frantically, but it was useless. Then, with a bang, one of his arms exploded. Help me, Zhao Kuang screamed in horror. But before his voice fell, his body exploded with a bang. Blood splattered on the tomb and his body and soul were destroyed. Hiss. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. A powerful genius had died just like that, all because he had attacked the Great Tomb. These tombs have terrifying power of laws. As long as you attack the tombs, you will be attacked by the laws. Yi Dongfang said with a solemn expression. That's right. The laws of the tombs are invincible. Once you get entangled, only death awaits you. Someone else said. Many people felt a lingering fear. Fortunately, Zhao Kuang attacked the tomb first. Otherwise they would be the ones to die. Especially Sima Liang. He had been with Zhao Kuang and almost attacked just now, but Zhao Kuang was one step faster. He saw the abnormality of the tomb and stopped his attack, dodging the calamity. It seemed that the tomb here couldn't be attacked at all. Attacking would only lead to death. Maybe only the tomb of the reincarnation emperor could be broken? Everyone thought. Then they blocked the attacks of the illusory figures and searched everywhere to see if they could find the tomb. But after searching for a long time, they still couldn't find the tomb. And if this continued, it would be very disadvantageous for them. Their true essence would be exhausted. There's a path ahead. Keep going forward. Maybe the tomb is in front of that path. Someone said. Many people nodded. They had seen that path. However, on both sides of that path, there were two exceptionally huge tombs that were far above the other tombs. This made many people wary and didn't rashly go up. If you guys don't go, I'll go. Tao Tai said and rushed toward that path. Bus. The two exceptionally huge tombs shone and two figures appeared. A true dragon and a phoenix, emitting a terrifying aura. Chapter 1642. The true dragon phantom roared and charged at Tao Tai. Its huge dragon claw slashed down at Tao Tai. Tao Tai roared and transformed into his true form. He also slashed out with his claw. However, Tao Tai's body shook violently and was sent flying by the true dragon phantom's claw. He retreated a dozen steps and spat out a mouthful of blood. The Tao Tai was injured by the true dragon's shadow in just one move. It was truly shocking. Tao Tai's combat strength was definitely at the top among them. If he used his full strength, he could definitely contend with a Saint Realm expert. However, he was no match for them and was injured in one move. Chirp. The phoenix cried out and charged at Tao Tai. Tao Tai was so frightened that he retreated and did not dare to fight. The true dragon and phoenix phantoms flew above their respective tombs and did not chase after him. He's so powerful. How can we pass through? He's definitely stronger than an ordinary Saint Realm expert. We're no match for him alone. Many people had ugly expressions. They had worked so hard to get here. Were they going to stop here? Everyone, if we want to pass through this path, we have to join forces. Let's join forces and charge through. Otherwise no one can pass alone. Huang Ling spoke. She joined forces with Lu Ming, defeated a shadow, and stepped forward. That's right. We have to join forces now. The 10th Prince of the Golden Crow said. I agree. I agree too. The others said. They were wary of each other earlier, but now they had to join forces again. If they did not join forces, they would have to stop here. Everyone defeated the phantoms and gathered at the path. After a while, everyone gathered together. Let's charge together. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. There were more than 40 people rushing towards the intersection. There were more than 40 people, and they were all sky prides with heavenly spiritual bodies. They came from different emperor-level forces. The true dragon roared and the phoenix cried out as they charged at the crowd. Kill. More than 40 prodigies attacked together. All kinds of lights burst out and gathered together. It was extremely terrifying. All kinds of offensive techniques collided with the true dragon and phoenix phantoms. They were unstoppable and destroyed the true dragon and phoenix phantoms, drowning them. Bam. Bam. The true dragon and phoenix phantoms collapsed. This is our chance. Charge. The geniuses made use of this opportunity to rush toward the entrance. In the blink of an eye, more than 40 of them had passed through the two great tombs. The phantoms of the true dragon and phoenix immediately reformed, but they didn't continue to attack them. Instead, they roared and flew into the great tomb, disappearing from sight. Just a wisp of immortal fighting has reached the Saint Realm. I wonder how terrifying he was when he was alive. Could it be that he had reached the Emperor Realm? Is there an Emperor-level true dragon buried in this tomb? Lu Ming looked at the great tomb, a fiery light flashing in his eyes. If he could obtain an Emperor-level true dragon skeleton and refine it, what level would his spiritual body evolve to? Would it evolve into a superior heavenly spiritual body? Of course he was only thinking about it. The great tomb was filled with terrifying law energy. Earlier Zhao Kuang had suffered the same fate. He naturally wouldn't dare to attack the great tomb. Everyone let out a long sigh of relief. Then they followed the path forward. Not long after, a river blocked his path. The strange thing was that the river water was yellow. It looked like the legendary Yellow Spring River of Hell. Is this really the Yellow Spring River? Suddenly someone spoke with a trembling voice. That was because there was a stone tablet there. Everyone looked at the stone tablet and saw two words written on it, Yellow Spring. Everyone looked at each other and saw shock and fear in each other's eyes. According to ancient legends, there was a netherworld hell. There was a river in hell that traversed hell called the Yellow Spring. The Yellow Spring couldn't be crossed because any living thing that entered the Yellow Spring would be corroded by the water and become a part of the Yellow Spring. However, all of this was just a legend. No one had ever seen it, not even an emperor-level expert. Could there really be a Yellow Spring and a netherworld hell in this world? Even the 10th Golden Crow Prince and Tao Tai, who were arrogant and unruly, had grave expressions. No one dared to try to cross the Yellow Spring. If they tried to cross it like the legendary Yellow Spring, they would be courting death. There's a bridge over there. Someone pointed ahead and shouted. Everyone looked over and saw that there was indeed a bridge up ahead. They walked along the shore of the Yellow Spring. When they got closer, they realized that the bridge was very wide and led to the other side of the Yellow Spring. There were 3 words carved on the bridge. Bridge of Helplessness. Hiss hiss hiss. The sound of people sucking in a breath of cold air was heard, and everyone felt a chill in their hearts. According to legend, there was a bridge of helplessness above the Yellow Spring. The only way to cross the Yellow Spring was to cross the Bridge of Helplessness. They didn't expect there to be a Bridge of Helplessness. The Yellow Spring, the Bridge of Helplessness, everything was as the legend said. Could this be the netherworld hell? Even though they were all geniuses from emperor-level factions and had seen a lot, they still felt a chill in their bodies. According to legend, there's a Meng Po on the Bridge of Helplessness. Anyone who crosses the bridge must drink the Meng Po's soup. After drinking it, they will forget everything. Could there be a Meng Po on the Bridge of Helplessness? Someone said with a trembling voice. Humph, all of this is just an illusion. Someone deliberately set it up. If there really is a Yellow Spring, why would it appear here? The 10th Golden Crow Prince snorted coldly. His body was surrounded by golden divine fire of the great sun. He stepped onto the Bridge of Helplessness and walked toward the other side. That's right. This should have been set up according to the legend when someone buried the reincarnation emperor. It can't be the real Yellow Spring. How can it stop me? Then someone else said and stepped onto the Bridge of Helplessness. Huang Ling, let's go too, Lu Ming said. Huang Ling nodded and the two of them stepped onto the Bridge of Helplessness side by side. When the others saw this, they also followed. Although they didn't believe that it was real, they were still cautious and kept their guard up. Ancient heroic spirits, where do their souls go? Suddenly a voice sounded. No one knew where it came from, but it sounded in everyone's ears. Who is it? Someone cried out in alarm. Ancient heroic spirits, where do their souls go? The voice continued to sound. It seemed to be filled with helplessness and sighs. Everyone continued to move forward. The voice continued to sound. However, that was the only sentence that was repeated over and over again. Everyone held their breaths and focused. They ignored the voice and continued to move forward. Soon they were about to cross the Bridge of Helplessness. However, at that moment everyone stopped. That was because there was a figure at the head of the Bridge of Helplessness. It was an old woman. The old woman was very old. Her back was hunched and she wore a loose black robe. Her hair was white, and the wrinkles on her face piled up like a mountain. She was holding a bowl in her hand. In the bowl was a milky white liquid. Mengpa. Chapter 1643. Gulp. Many people swallowed their saliva when they thought of the name Mengpa. Mengpa was really on the Bridge of Helplessness? Some people's backs were already drenched in cold sweat. Yellow Spring, Bridge of Helplessness, Mengpa. Everything was in line with the legend. Senior, who are you? The 10th Golden Crow Prince was bathed in the divine fire of the great sun. He cupped his fists at the old woman. The old woman smiled and glanced at the 10th Golden Crow Prince. The Bridge of Helplessness on the Yellow Spring River. Of course I'm Mengpa. It's really Mengpa? Many people's hearts trembled. This was the reincarnation Thearka's tomb. Why would there be the Bridge of Helplessness in Mengpa? Could this really lead to hell? Senior, is that reincarnation? Lu Ming suddenly asked. There was no path in front of the bridge of helplessness. There was only a pitch-black whirlpool. That's right. That's reincarnation. If you drink Meng Po's soup and forget your past life, you can enter reincarnation. Meng Po raised the bowl in her hand. Reincarnation, reincarnation. Is that the tomb of the reincarnation, the arch? Someone asked. Meng Po smiled and said, that's right. Haha, it's indeed the reincarnation Thearcha's tomb. What yellow spring helplessness. It's all fake. Reincarnation Thearcha's tomb, I'm going to meditate. The 10th Golden Crow Prince laughed and strode forward. But Meng Po blocked him and said, young man, if you want to enter reincarnation, you must drink Meng Po's soup and forget your past life. Only then can you enter reincarnation. Get lost. No one can make me forget my past life. The 10th Golden Crow Prince was extremely domineering. He threw out a palm and the terrifying divine fire of the great sun blasted toward Meng Po. But Meng Po waved her hand gently, and the divine fire of the 10th Golden Crow Prince was extinguished. The 10th Golden Crow Prince's eyes narrowed. He transformed into his three-legged golden crow form. His body was covered in terrifying flames like the sun. He flapped his wings and wanted to rush past Meng Po and enter the pitch-black whirlpool. Young man, you're too impulsive. Meng Po muttered. She extended a withered hand and grabbed at the Golden Crow 10th Prince. The shriveled claw rapidly expanded into the size of a mountain and grabbed at the 10th Golden Crow Prince. The Golden Crow 10th Prince seemed to be frozen in place. He couldn't move at all as he was grabbed by the withered claw. Damn it. Let's attack together. The 10th Golden Crow Prince roared. Whoosh. A figure rapidly rushed forward, wanting to take advantage of this opportunity to rush over. This was also a terrifying youth whose strength was not weaker than the Golden Crow 10th Prince. However, a ribbon flew out from Meng Po's sleeve and wrapped around the young man. The others were shocked. Those who wanted to make use of this opportunity to make a move stopped. The other party was too terrifying. Even someone as strong as the Golden Crow 10th Prince could not resist at all and was directly taken down. The same happened to the other person. The two struggled with all their might, but it was to no avail. Senior, spare my life, spare my life. The Golden Crow 10th Prince was afraid and began to beg for mercy. What are you afraid of? I won't kill you, said Meng Po. She grabbed the 10th Golden Crow Crown Prince and poured the bowl of Meng Po's soup into his mouth. No, the Golden Crow 10th Prince roared. If he drank Grandma Meng's soup and forgot everything, would he still be him? Wasn't that the same as being dead? How could he be willing to drink it? However, his struggle was to no avail. His mouth automatically opened and the bowl of Meng Po's soup was poured into the 10th Golden Crow Prince's mouth. Then, the 10th Golden Crow Prince's eyes were filled with confusion. Go, enter the cycle of reincarnation. Meng Po swung her hand and the 10th Golden Crow Prince flew into the pitch-black whirlpool and disappeared. Following that, the crowd saw that the bowl of soup in Meng Po's hand, which had originally been empty, was now refilling itself. Meng Po did the same and poured the bowl of Meng Po's soup into the mouth of another young man before throwing him into the pitch-black whirlpool. Now it's your turn. Come, drink Grandma Meng's soup and enter the cycle of reincarnation. Meng Po looked at Lu Ming and the others. Many people were covered in cold sweat. Senior, I'm not going to the reincarnation emperor's tomb. I'm leaving, someone said. If they lost all their memories after drinking Grandma Meng's soup, what was the point of obtaining the inheritance of the reincarnation emperor? Since you're here, there's no reason to retreat. All of you must drink Grandma Meng's soup and enter the cycle of reincarnation. Meng Po's dry voice sounded. No, I'm not going. I'm leaving. A few people shouted and retreated at lightning speed. I said, since you're here, you can't leave. Meng Po said indifferently and reached out to grab the air. Those people who retreated seemed to be frozen in the air and then flew towards Meng Po under the influence of a powerful force. Just like before, Meng Po drank a bowl of Grandma Meng's soup and threw it all into the pitch-black whirlpool. Lu Ming, what should we do? Huang Ling transmitted her voice to Lu Ming. Her face was a little pale. Meng Po is too strong. We can't resist at all. Lu Ming shook his head and said. The 10th Golden Crow Prince and the others were like babies in Meng Po's hands. They couldn't resist at all. Meng Po's strength was definitely beyond their imagination. They didn't have the slightest chance. Even if Lu Ming used all his strength and asked Bubble to help, they wouldn't have the slightest chance of escaping. The difference was too great. Do we really have to drink Grandma Meng's soup and forget our past and present lives? Chapter 1644. After Lu Ming jumped into the whirlpool, he felt dizzy and became more and more confused. Gradually, Lu Ming fell into darkness and could not feel anything. After a long time, Lu Ming gradually regained consciousness. He slowly opened his eyes. His eyes revealed the vicissitudes of life as if he had experienced the vicissitudes of life. I actually experienced 9 lives and 9 lives. Could it be that reincarnation really exists in this world? Lu Ming whispered. His eyes were filled with complicated emotions. At that instant, a series of images appeared in his mind. Everything that had happened had been recalled. He drank Granny Meng's soup, jumped into the whirlpool and fell into darkness. After that, he actually experienced 9 lives and 9 lives. In his first life he was born in a family of generals in the empire. He led the army and fought in wars since he was young. When he reached his middle age he became the marshal of the empire who controlled a large number of troops. However, the emperor was suspicious of him and killed him on a groundless charge. Then he was reincarnated. In his second life he became a scholar. His family was poor and he wanted to be the top scholar. However, when he was the top scholar he fell in love with the daughter of a noble family. In the end, the noble family secretly sent people to kill him. Then it was his third life. In this life he became an ordinary person, a villager in a small village. He married a wife and had children. In the end he had many children and grandchildren. His hair turned gray and he died of old age. The fourth life. The fifth life. In his ninth life he became a useless person who could not awaken his bloodline. His bloodline was dug out by his childhood sweetheart. Then he accidentally found the Temple of Paragon and stepped on the path of martial arts. Later, when he awakened his third bloodline, the third bloodline roared and he suddenly woke up. It was as if the reincarnation had ended. The ninth life is my own experience. It is exactly the same as my own experience. Is there really reincarnation in this world, or did I awaken the memories of the previous 8 lives? Lu Ming whispered. He was shocked and confused. It was as if he could not tell what was real and what was fake. Then, was his current life also one of the reincarnations? Was what he had experienced all the way real or fake? Little guy, I didn't expect you to wake up after experiencing 9 lives. This is really beyond my expectations. At that instant, an aged voice entered Lu Ming's ears. Lu Ming's heart jolted. Only then did he look around. The place he was in was a huge secret chamber, and a black-robed old man was walking towards him. Senior, you are? Lu Ming cupped his fists and said. In the past, people called me Samsara. The old man smiled. Reincarnation, you are the reincarnation emperor. Lu Ming could not help but exclaim. His mind slowly cleared up. Could it be that the Samsara Emperor was still alive? Well, you can say that. But now it's just a remnant soul. The old man said with a smile. Lu Ming looked at it carefully and found that it was indeed not a physical body. It was more like a phantom or a wisp of soul. Senior Samsara, is there really reincarnation in this world? Lu Ming asked. Scenes of the 9 lives flashed through his mind from time to time. Is there really reincarnation in this world? I don't know either. The Samsara Emperor let out a long sigh. You don't know either? Lu Ming was puzzled. Legend had it that the Samsara Emperor controlled the law of reincarnation, which was one of the strongest laws in the world. It was on par with the law of chaos. Did he not know about reincarnation? Then were the 9 lives he experienced real or fake? How could it be so real? Little guy, are you confused about your previous experience? In fact, it's not really reincarnation. It's just a reflection in the depths of your heart. You can understand it as a kind of illusion. In other words, it might have awakened the memories of your previous life. The Samsara Emperor said. So there is no reincarnation in this world. Lu Ming let out a long sigh and calmed down his mind. It's hard to say. Maybe when one's cultivation reaches a high enough level they can really reincarnate. Unfortunately, my cultivation level is not high enough. The Samsara Emperor sighed, then looked at Lu Ming and said, Little guy, what's your name? You're the first one in your group to wake up. I thought that the strongest among you would have to experience 100 lives to wake up. You're really strange. I'm Lu Ming. Senior, how long have I been here? Lu Ming asked. You've been here for 3 months. The Samsara Emperor said. 3 months? That's good. Lu Ming was relieved. He had experienced 9 lives. It was as if he had experienced a long time and comprehended the different lives of the 9 lives. He was afraid that he had experienced a long time in the real world. 3 months? That's good. Senior, are you the one who built this big tomb? And the Yellow Spring helplessness? Then Lu Ming asked a lot of questions. He was really curious. Of course not. I was almost gone after the battle. Later on, a peerless expert came here and built a big tomb for me. He also preserved a wisp of my remnant soul. Everything outside is the work of that expert. Perhaps he couldn't bear to see what I had learned in my life go down the drain, so he left a big tomb for me so that I could pass on my legacy in the future. The Samsara Emperor explained. As expected, Lu Ming muttered. He had heard of the legend before. It was said that after the 100 Races War, a peerless expert came to the 100 Races battlefield and built 9 tombs for the 9 strongest great emperors. The 1,000-kill martial emperor of the 1,000-kill sect had entered one of the tombs and obtained the inheritance. It seemed like the Yellow Spring helplessness was fake and was set up by that peerless expert. Lu Ming, you're cultivating the 9 Dragons war body, right? Speaking of which, that peerless expert is related to you. That expert is one of the top 10 battle beasts, the 9 Lives demonic silkworm. The Samsara Emperor said. 9 Lives demonic silkworm. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. According to Dandan, the top 10 battle beasts had all died in the battle a long time ago. But now it seemed that it was far from that simple. Dandan had used a special method to preserve its life. Later on, Lu Ming saw the Titan longhorn beetle and heard that the 9 Lives demonic silkworm was still alive. Perhaps many of the top 10 battle beasts were still in the world. What a pity, what a pity. At this moment, the Samsara Emperor looked at Lu Ming carefully and sighed. Senior, what's a pity? Lu Ming was puzzled. You've experienced 9 lives and were the first to wake up. Originally, you could have obtained my inheritance, controlled the Samsara realm, and then comprehended the law of Samsara. Unfortunately, you've already comprehended the Chaos realm. Chaos and Samsara are one of the top 10 strongest laws in the world. Just like how a mountain cannot accommodate 2 tigers, it's difficult to control and merge them at the same time. The Samsara Emperor sighed and explained in detail. Cultivators could control multiple laws at the same time when they cultivated to a certain level. However, there were 10 strongest laws in the world that were difficult to control at the same time. Since ancient times, those who could control one of them were rare geniuses. Chapter 1645. After listening to the Reincarnation Emperor's explanation, Lu Ming felt that it was a pity. At the same time he was shocked. In this world, there were as many as 9 types of laws that were on par with the chaos laws. Lu Ming did not know about this before. It seemed that his understanding was still too little. Senior, perhaps there will be someone suitable to inherit your legacy in the future. Lu Ming said. Although it was a pity he could only give up. He could not give up the chaotic realm and cultivate the reincarnation realm. That was impossible. There's no time left. My remnant soul can't exist for too long. The Reincarnation Emperor sighed. Then a crystal-like object appeared in his hand. It was magical. Lu Ming looked at it as if he was looking at a world. Lu Ming, this is my heart of the realm. Contains all my legacy. Take it. If you meet a suitable person in the future, help me pass it on. This is my last wish. The Reincarnation Emperor said. His voice was full of regret. It was a pity that a great emperor of a generation had fallen to such a state. Senior, Lu Ming will definitely find the most suitable successor for you and pass down the legacy. Lu Ming's eyes were firm. He took the heart of the realm from the Reincarnation Emperor and put it away solemnly. Thank you. The Reincarnation Emperor smiled and said, Little guy, since you're the first one to wake up, how can I let you return empty-handed? This reincarnation halberd is for you. The Reincarnation Emperor's hand glowed and a halberd appeared. This reincarnation halberd was my weapon in the past. However, it's been severely damaged and doesn't have much power left. However, I've sealed 2 forces in it. If each of these 2 forces were to unleash their full power, they could kill any expert below the Emperor realm. The Reincarnation Emperor said. It can kill any expert below the Emperor level. Lu Ming was shocked. Then he was overjoyed. Such a treasure was simply heaven-defying. At the critical moment, it could definitely turn the tables and save one's life. That's right. Of course, there are only 2 forces. Once they're used up, there's nothing left. Take it. The Reincarnation Emperor passed the Reincarnation Halberd to Lu Ming. Lu Ming put it away happily. Alright, I'll send you out now. Samsara Emperor said. Senior, can I stay here for a while longer? I would like to cultivate here. Lu Ming said. Before this, he had experienced 9 lifetimes. Those scenes were like 9 real lifetimes. Lu Ming gained many insights. He felt that he was about to make a breakthrough in the primal chaos domain. One more step and he would be a half-saint. As long as he broke through to the half-step saint realm, his strength would skyrocket. Only then would he have more confidence when he went out. Don't worry about it, just cultivate as much as you can, Samsara Emperor said. Lu Ming nodded and then sat down cross-legged. He took out the Tree of Enlightenment and began to comprehend quietly. The Tree of Enlightenment? This little fellow seems to have more secrets than I thought. The Samsara Emperor was taken aback for a moment before a faint smile appeared on his face. The chaotic domain on Lu Ming's body started to vibrate and undulate. In the blink of an eye, 7 days passed. Boom. Bust. The chaotic domain on Lu Ming's body suddenly vibrated violently and then skyrocketed. Its aura surged. Ultimate domain. After experiencing 9 lifetimes and 9 reincarnations, Lu Ming was enlightened and finally broke through to the peak of the chaotic domain. The ultimate chaotic domain was much stronger than the level 9 chaotic domain. As soon as the chaotic domain broke through, the true yuan in Lu Ming's body started to surge. It roared and jumped and its speed became faster and faster. His cultivation was about to break through. Lu Ming waved his hand and a large pile of mid-grade primordial stones appeared on the ground. Lu Ming activated his devouring power and began to devour the primordial stones. 3 days later, Lu Ming did not know how many primordial stones he had refined. His aura suddenly skyrocketed, forming a true yuan qi pillar that rushed to the top of the secret chamber. However, the secret chamber was very sturdy. Lu Ming's true yuan qi pillar rushed to the top, but there was no reaction at all. At this moment, Lu Ming opened his eyes. Now he had finally broken through to the first stage of the half-saint realm. After breaking through to the half-saint realm, his combat strength had skyrocketed. He was now confident that he could defeat Tao Tai alone. Little guy, I almost forgot. I saw a trace of chaotic qi in your body. Let me give you another opportunity. The Reincarnation Emperor appeared and walked over. A stream of qi appeared in his hand and circled around his arm. Chaotic qi, this is the real chaotic qi. Lu Ming's eyes widened in shock. He immediately sensed that the stream of qi on the Reincarnation Emperor's arm was the real chaotic qi. Although he cultivated the chaotic domain, he had never seen the real chaotic qi. That's right. This is a strand of real chaotic qi. I obtained it before the war. I originally wanted to refine it into the Samsara halberd, but after the war I put it aside. Now I'm giving it to you. Refine it into your spiritual body. Your spiritual body's strength will increase greatly. Lu Ming, close your eyes. I'll help you. The Reincarnation Emperor said softly. Lu Ming quickly closed his eyes and became one with the Reincarnation Emperor. The Reincarnation Emperor waved his hand and a stream of chaotic qi flew out and entered Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's body shook violently and he spat out a mouthful of blood. The chaotic qi was the origin energy of heaven and earth. Even a stream of it could crush a mountain range. It was extremely heavy. When the chaotic qi entered Lu Ming's body, he felt that his body was about to collapse. Hang in there. There is a trace of chaotic qi in your body. You should be able to refine it. The Reincarnation Emperor's voice rang in his ears. Then a ray of light shone from the Reincarnation Emperor's hand and enveloped Lu Ming. Suddenly, Lu Ming felt the pressure on his body lighten. He focused his mind and started to refine the chaotic qi. Slowly, a wisp of true chaotic qi intertwined with the original wisp of chaotic qi in his body and slowly seeped into Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's body was slowly becoming stronger. Meanwhile, several young men were sitting on the underworld bridge. They were Huang Ling, the 10th prince of the Golden Crow, the Tao Tai, and the others. The 40 or so sky prides who had jumped into the vortex were all here. At this moment, the geniuses opened their eyes one after another. Their eyes were filled with confusion. What's going on? I clearly remember drinking Meng Po's soup and jumping into the vortex. Why am I still here? Someone blurted out with a confused look. I don't know either. I only know that I fell into darkness and lost my consciousness. I woke up here. Me too. The others nodded. It seemed like they were different from Lu Ming. Lu Ming could remember the scenes of his 9 reincarnations, but these people seemed to have forgotten them. The 10th prince of the Golden Crow was engulfed in flames. He rose to his feet and scanned his surroundings cautiously. He let out a sigh of relief when he did not see Meng Po. It seems like we have come out of the reincarnation realm. Who was it that obtained the succession of the Reincarnation Emperor? You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.